What is happening, Gothamites? Welcome back to Nightcast, the audio podcast where we talk all things The Dark Knight. And tonight, which it's been a while, but we are going to be speaking about the Batman casting. You know, I really thought that was going to blow up, but it just didn't pan out. And we have a lot to talk about, as well as Batman's fighting style, which is going to be kind of fun to discuss because I like where they're going with Matt Reeves and Battinson's fighting style. Very reminiscent to Chris Nolan's stuff. So that's going to be fun to discuss. But let's start by the cast because that's what you guys came here for. Now, I am not the master at pronouncing all these names, so we'll do the best we can. But as far as I know, this cast is confirmed. They're still rounding out some actors or actresses to play Firefly. We don't know if Firefly is going to be a female version or if it will be the Lynn's version of the character. That's unknown at this time. But, of course, Pattinson is playing Bruce Wayne. You've got Jeffrey Wright, who is confirmed now as Commissioner Gordon. Although this doesn't mean that Batgirl will be black. Not that there's any issue with that, but they're probably going with the either niece of Commissioner Gordon with the whole redhead Barbara Gordon, or she'll be adopted, which is also something that happened in the comics. So Jeffrey Wright is Commissioner Gordon. Zoe Kravitz will be Selena Kyle, which we've talked about. That is also confirmed based on the, I guess you would say, chemistry that she and Robert had during the tryouts, or whatever you want to call it. And she was up against a lot of actresses. She beat them out. Paul Dino, I don't know, will be playing Edward Nygma. Although they call him Edward Nashton in this. So I don't know if that's a DC Rebirth thing or a New 52, like renaming. Zelda, be careful. Jonah Hill will not be in the film. He was considered at some point in time, but that's not happening anymore. Talks didn't go through, and they got Paul to play the Riddler instead. And yes, Jonah Hill was not up for the Penguin role, which a lot of people believe based on his weight. They're doing things a little bit different for this Batman movie. They're going to have a thin Penguin and also a thin Riddler. The thin Penguin you can thank because of the whole Gotham film. Or Gotham TV show where they changed how Penguin was. Although, sometimes in the comics, he did not appear as a portly man, but those were mostly Elseworld stuff, so that's their version of the Penguin. So Jonah Hill won't be connected. Playing the Penguin is official now, will be Colin Farrell. Now, this was rumored a while back, but it wasn't confirmed. I believe earlier today they did make it official, as a lot of different publications are reporting on this. So Colin Farrell, who is a fantastic actor, will be playing the Penguin. The last time we saw the Penguin on screen was Danny DeVito back in 1992's Batman Forever. So, yeah. Playing Alfred is a very interesting choice. It's an MCU villain. I don't know if I'm saying this guy's name right or not, so maybe you guys can help me. Andy Serkis, who played, I believe, he was in Black Panther, playing that villain, the Claw, I think. So he'll be Alfred. That is official. So you may also remember Sarkis as Gollum. Can't do Gollum tonight, but yeah. So he is playing Alfred Pennyworth. And he will be Alfred for the series. So there were a bunch of Alfreds that were attached to this role. One of them being, of course, Pierce Brosnan, but Pierce Brosnan did not do it. And the score for the film, I am not going to be able to say this guy's name right, but you will recognize some of his credits. He did Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Jurassic World, The Fallen Kingdom, and he is the man responsible for the Incredibles soundtrack and The Incredibles 2. So if you like his compositions, then there you go. The guy who did The Incredibles will be the composer for at least the Batman. We don't know if he's going to do the other films because, while Danny Elfman did do Batman and Batman Returns, he did not come back to do Batman Forever or Batman and Robin, or any of the later films. The only time Elfman reprised the Batman theme was in the Justice League, which I have to say, I like the take of course, the Batman theme. I think it's very iconic, but I'm looking forward to what the Incredibles guy brings to the table because, The Incredibles, while a fantastic movie, it's not really, how do I put this? It is for older audiences and it isn't. I mean, The Incredibles is targeted for kids. So, the Incredibles guy is doing a Batman score. So, we've talked about the plot before, and I can actually run around now that I'm not reading names off a list. So, we've talked about the plot before. They're adapting the Long Halloween and Dark Victory and all those stories connected to it for the trilogy. So, we will be seeing Dick Grayson eventually. Not in the first movie, probably. That's a big... I don't think so. The first movie will focus on the events of the Long Halloween. We may see Harvey Dent. Okay, you know what? Amber, you're supposed to put the cat away before we do this. Sorry, people. I know you don't like when that... I know you guys don't like when the cat interferes with stuff. But I was assured, because the basement was shut, that she was already away. But no. Alright. So, where was I? Alright. So, Harvey Dent is probably going to get his origin in the movie. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're getting an origin story for all the villains. As I've told you guys before, I honestly believe, and based on things that I've heard from other publications and sources, is that there's not going to be an origin for the Batman, and most of the world is already established. Meaning, Batman's villains are running around like the animated series. In fact, they have actually cited inspiration for this film that the staff is using, not just the Batman comics, they're using Batman the Animated Series to build their world. So what does this mean? Well, this means in On Leather Wings, the very first episode of Batman the Animated Series, you had... What? You forgot to put the cat away. Yeah, it's...
Wait, I'll do it now. Did your stream start yet?
Yeah, my stream's already started. I put her away.
Oh, bye.
Bye, babe. Alright, so where was I? Okay, so the very first episode of the animated series, well, there were characters that actually got some of their origin, like we got a origin for Mr. Freeze, Two-Face, etc. There were already villains that were established and running around Gotham as it was. So that's what you're going to get with Matt Reeves' trilogy. There will be some characters that are going to be introduced to the audience and reimagined, and there will be a lot of villains that Batman has been fighting for years that you're just going to be plopped right into that universe. And I think that is the perfect thing that they can do for this new trilogy of movies to set that atmosphere. That way, unlike the MCU, every character has to have like some type of beginning and introduction and things like that. You're not going to get that for most of the villains. Penguin is established. Catwoman, I'm pretty sure, is established already. And she's tangled with Batman. This is not a Batman Year 1. This is not a Batman... It's kind of like a Year 2, Year 3. They're going to play around with that a little bit. So, Robin showed up in Batman Year 3, but what they're going to do for the Dick Grayson thing is this is a Batman that's been active for a while. If I'm going to throw out some numbers there, I want to say that this is not a veteran Batman, but not a rookie either. So they're playing around with the idea of a Year 3, Year 4 situation, from what I hear, which I think works great. But again, Penguin's established, Catwoman's established, Joker's established, but he's not going to appear in this movie. Harley Quinn, because it's supposed to be connected to the DCU somehow, or Worlds of DC, whatever the heck they're calling it now, I don't know. Harley Quinn is probably going to be established, but won't appear until the films kind of move toward whatever happens after that Flashpoint thing that's still happening. But Penguin will be there. Firefly may get an origin, may not. Probably doesn't need one. Two-Face will need an origin. Now, the reason why Two-Face needs an origin is because he had an origin in the Long Halloween. And it was kind of tragic what happened with the whole holiday killer and stuff like that. What I'm confused about them doing the Long Halloween, though, is kind of important that the Calendar Man is in it. And as far as I know, Day is not listed in any of the cast stuff. They're going with Firefly, Catwoman, Two-Face, Penguin, Riddler, and there was one other villain they talked about. I want to say it was Killer Moth, or it's somebody really obscure. I don't remember. But Day is not listed as one of the villains that appears in the movie, at least for right now. I mean, they might still be building more cast, and maybe Batman will run into different characters, because they're doing like a Sherlock Holmes thing. I don't know why they're doing this, but when Pattinson was talking about the new script, or the tweak script, in a recent interview, he was saying that the feel of the movie, it still has that noir detective thing, but at the same time, Reeves and him are both fascinated with Sherlock Holmes. And of course, Pattinson being, I believe he's another British Batman. I don't really know nationalities all that well, so forgive me. But I believe Pattinson, just like Bale, is from across the pond. So this is another time that a Batman actor will be played by someone of English in origin, right? I believe so. So both Reeves and Pattinson are fascinated with Sherlock Holmes, so they are going to be doing more of a detective thing with that. And I believe their Moriarty villain is going to be the Riddler. So that's going to change things up a little bit for the Long Halloween. And Two-Face kind of being the tragic figure that becomes a villain, and he was, you know, the dashing DA. Or at least that's what one draft floating around has said, that we're going to get a Two-Face origin similar to what we had in the Long Halloween. What is it, Amber? Oh, I got a super chat? I always read my super chats at the end.
Oh, then never mind. But thank you for the super chat. That's a good one.
Nope.
Oh wait, I'm going to bed then.
Okay, take your blood pressure, honey, and go to sleep. Thank you for the super chat, guys, but on these streams, I tend to read my super chats once I'm done, you know, expressing my thoughts and things like that, because I have a lot of stuff to go off, and I can't really... I will get to questions at the end of my spiel, which is going to take about another 30, 40 minutes at least, because we have a lot of ground to go over. And with all the... Not that I don't mind people's generosity, but with all the distractions that happen, that's part of the reason I'm not really fighting right now. I'm just kind of walking around, because there's a lot of information that's dropped over the past 2 weeks, and I'm trying to condense into this live stream to tell you all the things that I know, all the things I'm allowed to share, and also things that I can speculate. So for me... we have to run through the courses of my mind to get everything out in the open. Does that make sense? Okay. So, like I said, with Two-Face, we're probably getting an origin, which is not going to be a big deal because the Long Halloween is essentially a Two-Face reimagining. Two-Face played a big role in it. I don't know what's going on with the mobster element. There are going to be a lot of characters in this. The big A-list stars are playing the rogues that we've talked about. I don't know who they've mentioned is going to play like a Falcone family member, or, you know, Maroni or anything like that. But you'll remember from the Long Halloween that essentially it was a lot of mob people that were being killed off by the Holiday Killer. And the Holiday Killer was several people, which I don't really want to spoil for new people. But if you would like to listen to my Long Halloween lore, it is in the description of this video. But wait until after this video is done, and then go listen to that, and you can be spoiled, because that's what they're going to be doing with most of the plot. Although they're also incorporating some elements of Mask of the Phantasm, because as I said, they're heavily inspired by the animated series, which makes sense because Matt Reeves is not a super old director, and Pattinson is not, you know, really that old. They're around the same age as some other, you know, people my age. They're in their... well, I'm mid-30s, so they're like early 30s, so they'd be familiar with the animated series when they grew up and things like that. Although Matt Reeves, I think, is in his 40s, something like that. But he would have been a teenager or, you know, college age when Batman the Animated Series dropped. So they're all familiar with this stuff. So that's why they know that an already established universe works for Batman. Doesn't necessarily work for every superhero, but for Batman, because people are so familiar with his origin and the origin of a lot of his famous villains, you can just jump right out into it. You don't have to do a lot. You don't have to be like, okay, I need to lay the groundwork for this. they really didn't need to lay the groundwork of any type of origin in BVS at all, because people know Batman's story. It's sad. It related to crime. He put on a bat suit. He beats people up. I mean, you know, Joker falls into a vat of acid. It's pretty self-explanatory even for noobs. So, I mean, over the course of your lifetime, you've probably come across either a Batman comic where they sometimes talk about it. You've seen an animated show. You've seen a movie. So you know what's going on with those characters. They're iconic characters. You don't have to spend a lot of time laying the groundwork for them. You can just dive off and have some fun with it. You got a massive playground to work with, and that's what Reeves is going to be doing. Now, I've heard from a good friend of mine who works in film that Pattinson has decided on his fighting style, which I find kind of interesting. Now, we're going to talk about this now. So, in BVS and Justice League, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Ben Affleck's fighting style was based on a UFC fighting style. He didn't go for the more Muay Thai and the boxing and the more like mixed martial arts that, of course, Bale did. But Bale was basically being trained in Muay Thai, which is a lot of elbows and knees and, you know, things like that. Things that didn't necessarily look flashy, but for his Batman and in Nolan's world, it was something that was going to be very punishing. And when he would, you know, appear in a crowd of people and be able to disable them rather quickly, that's Muay Thai, right? So, with Pattinson, he kind of wanted to do something similar, and what the fighting style that they've decided on, which is official, is going to be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is both Jiu-Jitsu, which is basically a throwing art and using your enemy's own body weight against them to, you know, either throw them around or do some stuff to incapacitate them. But the Brazilian martial arts also has a lot of heavy hits, kind of like Muay Thai and some other things. So this is going to be a brutal Batman, but it's not going to be like a Frank Miller Batman. You have to remember that with the Zack Snyder universe, they were going for as brutal as possible. And I believe they based it after a UFC fighter that was known for his brutality. And they also were trying to tell the story of a very old, angry, and a Batman who has rejected his code. As far as we know, because people aren't really outraging over a lot of the little leaks that have been happening with the film, this is not a Batman that is going to kill, but I don't know, because I believe they haven't... If they're going with a Sherlock Holmes approach, Sherlock Holmes did kill people, if I'm not mistaken. He was basically like a police inspector, or, you know, one of them had ties to the police. So a character being killed off during an investigation wasn't necessarily Holmes having like a code of ethics like that involved no killing. So I don't know. When they throw around things like that, I'm going to be very careful with the movies from now on, because when I worked with Warner Brothers to help promote BVS online, and the material that they gave me said that this was a Batman that was non-lethal, that kind of all blew up in my face, because, as we know, when we saw the movie, it didn't really coincide with the merchandise that they were putting out and the stuff that they gave me explaining, yeah, this is a Batman that uses rubber bullets, all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. No, that didn't happen. This was a murder bat who was going around blowing up people with his tank. So I'm not going to say whether or not Pattinson's character is going to be true to the comics of the modern era and not kill people, or if he's going to go a little bat crazy and some people will end up dying, you know, by his actions completely, and not just what happened with Bale, where his Batman was kind of manslaughter Batman. People died because of things he did, or indirectly died because of him. Whereas Keaton and Affleck, and I don't think Val Kilmer ever... Well, yeah, he killed Two-Face. Clooney was the only one I can think of that really didn't kill anybody, because Bane survived, I think. Although that was technically Robin and Batgirl. Mr. Freeze went to jail. Ivy went to jail. Two-Face was killed by Val Kilmer. Indirectly. Although also resulted in, you know, throwing coins, and then he fell, and, I have to, you know, Batman kind of knew he probably was going to fall to his death, so, I mean, yeah, whatever. But Keaton definitely killed people. So there's no, that was, people died indirectly. No, literally, he smashes a dude's head into a bell and flip kicks him to his death. He killed some dude with a groin attack, like spear. You know, it's just, meh. He blew people up. He blew up an entire factory of Joker workers. I mean, he was playing the Golden Age Batman, and Golden Age Batman killed people, like the Bob Kane, Bill Finger, 40s Batman. Which, whatever. It is what it is. So I'm not going to go off on a limb and say, yeah, this is going to be the comic book version of Batman, that he's not going to kill people, because Brazilian martial arts can be pretty lethal. Just like Muay Thai can. So I was really surprised that Batman in the Bale universe didn't kill more people when he was punching them in the face with his elbows and knees, because your knees and elbows in Muay Thai, they're deadly if you hit somebody right with them. I never studied Muay Thai, but I had a friend who did, and I never sparred with the guy because I did not want to get hurt. I did not want to have, like, it's a nasty martial arts. It's very, very powerful. Very, very, very hard-hitting. I never ever sparred with anybody who did Muay Thai. Little jiu-jitsu. I sparred with people who did jiu-jitsu, karate. What was that other stuff? It was so big in the 90s. I can't remember the name of it. Gosh, my brain's not working. But anyway, more on the Batman stuff. There was a famous martial arts style that everybody was taking in the 90s, early 2000s. Let's see if the chat knows it. No, nobody's talking about that stuff. Never mind. It'll come to me later, but it's not really important. So yeah, Brazilian martial arts is what our Batman in this movie is going to be doing. For the detective elements, probably going to see some, since it's based in the 90s, I think it's off the table that you're not going to see Batman, like, with any, like, really heavy tech stuff. Taekwondo, thank you. Yeah, I sparred with some people that did Taekwondo. Thank you. I knew it was... I was going with a different name than Taekwondo, though. I think I was going with Jeet Kune Do, which there were a lot of people I knew in New York City and Albany that studied that, like the martial arts of Bruce Lee, something like that. I never did it. Just karate, a little bit of jiu-jitsu. I didn't stick around to earn any really heavy belts or anything, if that's what people are asking. Just enough to be able to defend myself from bullies and living in New York. So, yeah. But I haven't done that stuff in years. Probably, I'm so out of practice, I don't know if it'll come to me in a pinch if somebody pulls a knife or a gun on me. Anywhere in Philly or something like that. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll be muscle memory. I don't know. I think it's something that you have to continue to keep practicing. But I haven't really done that stuff in probably 15, 20 years at least. No, 15. Not that old. Because college was 2001. And I stopped. I was done with martial arts by the time I was 19 or 18, something like that. So, but it's been a long time. Maybe it'll come back. Hopefully I'll never have to use any of the stuff I know. But I think you have to practice, otherwise you're going to just end up hurting yourself. But yeah, that's what our boy Battinson is going to be doing. Brazilian martial arts. So expect probably a lot of similar stuff we saw with Bale. He's going to be attacking a lot of people in groups. He'll also be, doing some pretty flashy moves. They're using stuff that looks good on camera. Although, to be honest, I don't know how they're going to top that warehouse scene from BVS. I mean, that is by far the coolest Batman choreography fight scene I've ever seen in a film. I mean, Bale's stuff, you couldn't really see it all the time because the cape was kind of distorting the camera. He would swoop in and he'd take out a large group of enemies, which looked cool, but sometimes it was hard to see the difference between Bale and the stunt guy. If you look really closely in the warehouse scene, you can see Ben Affleck, and you can see the stunt guy. So the fact that I respect Robert for going in and, doing the training for this Brazilian martial arts is probably you're going to see a lot more of him on camera than his stunt guy. That's pretty cool. And you did see a lot of Affleck, actually, on camera. There were only a couple scenes where I believe they said it involved a lot of flipping and stuff like that, which Affleck couldn't do, and he didn't want to use wires for it. So the stunt guy handled a lot of the acrobatic stuff that Batman did. But anyway, getting back to the tech stuff, since the film takes place in the 90s, don't expect a lot of high-tech, like, computery stuff. I mean, Batman will probably have some type of gadgets that are pretty advanced, but nothing, like, too far crazy. Key example of that, think of, like, the Batman TV show from 2004, where Batman's tech was at least 20 years ahead of everybody else's. He had, like, hologram technology, or the Arkham games are a great example of that. Since the movie's set in the 90s, yeah, you're going to see, like, classic detective stuff. So think like the Neil Adams Batman comic books of the day. You know, just pretty simple stuff. Probably gathering fingerprints. Maybe he has some type of, like, criminal database in the Batcave. But it's going to be a more hands-on approach to detective work. Very Sherlock Holmesy. That's where they're going with that. So that's going to be kind of cool. The only thing that I'm concerned about, which I've talked a little bit on Twitter about this, and yes, we're getting into the Bat voice. This could be a problem. It may not be, but it could be a big problem because, unfortunately, unlike Affleck, Pattinson hasn't heard a lot of Batman voices. And it hasn't come out that this was a joke either. He's never done a follow-up interview to say he was joking or if he was being completely serious. It's one of the things that, with Robert, he's a straight shooter. And when he talks, well, it is what it is. This is what he honestly believes. And this is something he said at the start of the month. Or sorry, that's what he said in October when they were talking more about casting. And I kid you not, but he believes that Batman is supposed to have a more piratey voice. Now, I don't know where he's going with that. You have to remember, there's been a lot of Batman voices that have become kind of jokish over the years. The Bale voice started out really good in Batman Begins.
But by the time he got to Batman, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, you could understand him about as much as you could understand Bane. And Bane, they had a computer. So, I mean, yeah. But if he wants to be more piratey, then pirates sound like this, matey. Arr, I be the Batman. You're in for it now, Two-Face. Yar!
You know? And the fact that he used William Dafoe as a, for Lighthouse, as an example of how he wants to take his Batman voice, and he believes Batman would sound very piratey, that means we're going to get kind of a whispery Keaton Batman voice. And you may have a bit of an accent. May. Savvy? Now, I'm sure he's going to get some good vocal coaching, but you have to remember, with Bale, they kind of let Bale do whatever he wanted. Bale created his Batman voice, and then the vocal coach was just kind of like, you know what? I don't think it's that bad. I think what he's doing sounds kind of scary. And maybe the first time you heard The Dark Knight, if you understood Bale, then maybe you were a little intimidated. I'll tell you what, when I saw the trailers for The Dark Knight, I was intimidated by the Joker. And then when I heard the new Batman voice, where Bale went a little bit heavy, I remember it. I was in theaters. I was seeing some type of movie. I don't remember what it was. And the Dark Knight trailer came up. And Bale had very few lines. In fact, some of the first things that you see of Bale's Batman is all imagery, which is cool. That's how Batman is supposed to be. Batman is mysterious. Batman is, you know, thinking about things. And his cape is blowing in the wind. That stuff was fine. But as soon as Bale spoke, in the Dark Knight trailer, and I thought they were going to fix this. I really did. And don't get me wrong, I love The Dark Knight. But the Batman voice, just like Kevin Conroy has said, someone needed to tell Bale that he needed to approach it a different way. Because what he was doing in Batman Begins worked, and it worked really well.
But I'm sorry, this voice right here, this isn't it, Chief. This is not how you want your Dark Knight to sound. And also, when he really got into it, he sounded like he was out of breath, chasing the bad guys. Almost like the Batman was having some problems being Batman in his own movie. Alright, I'm getting lightheaded. I need to stop now. Okay.
Oh gosh, I feel the tingles. I have no idea how he did it without passing out, you know? And if you go and watch the movie, go and watch The Dark Knight. How many times did he pause before saying another word? It's because Bale was about ready to pass out from lack of oxygen. So, please, Pattinson, when you do the Batman voice, don't make him a pirate, and make sure you have enough breath support to be scary. This is your first role as the Dark Knight. We do not need another joke Batman voice. Say what you will about Affleck's robot voice. At least it sounded consistent. It did. Every movie that he did it, he sounded like weird robot voice. But it sounded like Bruce Wayne doing a robot voice. Again, consistent like Keaton's Batman voice. I'll give him points for that, but also a joke. But the rumor has it, because of the reception of Justice League and BVS, Batman was the big selling point of those movies, don't get me wrong, but they're giving Robert and Reeves a lot more wiggle room to do things. So that means a new Batman voice that's going to be either very raspy or very piratey raspy. Alfred, we have to find out where the Riddler be hiding, because he's doing some scurvy things, yar. You know? Although, I don't know what a whispery pirate would sound like. Perhaps he'd sound like Captain Jack Sparrow a little bit. Where's the rum? I don't know. I don't know what a whispery pirate sounds like. I've seen the Lighthouse trailer. When I heard William Dafoe doing his cool voice, he sounded like a cool Britishy pirate, a seaman. Batman is not a guy who works at the sea. He doesn't hop on boats. He's got a boat, but he doesn't work down by the docks. So giving him that type of accent, I hope Robert is joking. I really, 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 really do, because I don't think that would be good. I think that would be kind of bad. And I think that he would blow everyone out of the water for the worst Batman voice. Worse than throat cancer Bale and robot Batman and George Clooney's normal I'm Batman. I mean, no. That concerns me, and I have watched the Lighthouse trailer several times to try to see. I understand that Pattinson is a big fan of William Dafoe. He loved working with him. This also leads me to believe that we could see William Dafoe come back and work with Robert again, possibly in the Batman trilogy. Because most of these people that I believe he's going to be working with as the trilogy goes through are people that he has great chemistry with. Now, I don't know who William Dafoe could play. I'm just kind of spitballing with you. He's expressed interest of working with William Dafoe again. I don't know if he's ever brought up the Batman films, but I'm just going with past Batman actors as an example. Bale worked with a lot of people that he has been in other movies with. Keaton worked with people that he was in other movies with. Val Kilmer, I don't know if Tommy Lee Jones was in a movie with Val Kilmer previously before Batman Forever. I kind of like push Batman Forever and Batman and Robin out of my head. So yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you guys that. I'm sorry. When it comes to those type of movies, I never try to be well versed in them, because the chance of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin coming into conversation for the type of stuff that I talk about or I have people talk to me about is very slim. Very, 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 very slim. So, yeah.
Where's Rachel? Where's Rachel? I'm gonna put you in a padded cell forever. I'll join you too, because I'm gonna be out of breath chasing the bad guys just from speaking.
Oh gosh, I get so lightheaded doing that. You have no idea. How did he do it? I mean, I understand that he takes breaths when he does the voice, and probably Nolan would count, cut, and Bale would be like, okay, that's great. I need a moment before the next scene. Oh, my voice is great, right, Chris? It's beautiful, Chris. I love it. It needs to be gruffer. It needs to be scarier.
How's this?
Beautiful. Keep it up. Everyone's gonna love it. I love it. My brother loves it too. The audience is like, okay. First time, not so much. But no, I want. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Ben Affleck was doing some stuff, prior to actually putting on the suit and some other stuff, when he did interviews, he was messing around with a bat voice just for fun. And then he completely decided, you know what? I don't think that's realistic that Batman would have two voices. Yes, it is realistic that Batman would have two voices. Keaton did it. Kevin Conroy overdid it, which is great because he created two characters. Bruce Wayne had a very high voice, kind of, like, I'm Bruce Wayne, billionaire. And Batman was really dark, and I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman! Really, really deep in the diaphragm, really down here. Robin! And then Bruce Wayne was kind of higher, to, act more comedic and things like that. That was really cool. Keaton was just, as his Bruce Wayne, he was kind of, a little crazy, not comfortable in his own skin as Bruce Wayne, which made sense for the character that they were portraying. Burton's world is always a little crazy, but he was a little skittish, a little Michael Keaton playing Bruce Wayne, basically. But it worked because his Batman hardly talked. His Batman had I'm Batman. A little deeper than that, but it worked. It was freaky. And he didn't use it all that much. The difference between that Batman and some of the other ones is we actually saw Keaton's Batman break character a couple times, and you could kind of see that it wasn't like Bruce Wayne was the mask and Batman was the real identity. Bruce Wayne was doing a job just like the 40s Batman was. He put on the suit, he went out, he beat up bad guys, came home. That's what the Golden Age 39, 45 Batman was like. Bruce Wayne and Batman were one and the same. They weren't two different personalities trying to compete for each other. And I don't know what the psychology of the Pattinson movies is going to be about, because I don't really remember a duality with the way that The Long Halloween and Dark Victory were written. You kind of saw that later, or kind of in Frank Miller's work. There was kind of a double personality for Batman a little bit. Kind of. Like they were competing for dominance a little bit. But The Long Halloween was... He could have been talking like Bruce Wayne style in his head, or you don't know. A lot of people really like to think that Batman does have... I like to believe that since Batman is so crazy and he's had so much guilt, survivor's guilt, all this other stuff, that he has kind of created a second personality. We've seen it in the Arkham games. Kevin Conroy has talked about this in detail. Paul Dini has talked about this. Tim Burton, I don't know. I don't believe so. He wasn't really a comic book guy. And back then, they didn't really get into the psychological aspect of the Batman. That came in the 90s and the 2000s and things like that. But I believe Bale brought up the psychological stuff. But at the same time, he was just trying to do an intimidating voice, and he was Batman the whole time. Bruce Wayne was just kind of gone. Like, back in the alleyway when his parents were killed, that was it. Kind of like the Arkham Batman. Like, when the parents were gone, Bruce Wayne was just kind of, like, overshadowed by Batman. Batman was born in the alleyway. Bruce Wayne died with his parents. That's how Dini says it in the Arkham games. Or the Arkham games that he's done. I don't know what Roger Craig Smith has said about his Batman. No idea. But with Pattinson, we'll find out some stuff eventually, because they're going to start shooting the movie. I believe they're doing some photography in December, late December, and they're going to do, like, most of the filming. I don't remember if it's in London or if it's happening in the U.S. I think it's happening overseas. They're going to do they're going to do pretty much everything between January and, I want to say, early spring. Something like that. And we'll finally get to see the costume and some other stuff. But I don't know what the costume is going to be. Personally, I'm just letting you guys know that I'm kind of tired of the no emblem Batman. We've had a Batman with no emblem on his chest now for like 26, 27 years in cinema. Something like that. You think about it, the 1995 Batman Forever movie, he retires the emblem. Like, he had the emblem on his chest at the beginning of the movie, but then it kind of went from yellow to black, and then, like a grayish thing, and then they had the giant bat, like, insignia, which he had on his sonar batsuit. And then ever since then, in every Batman movie that he's appeared in, they've done away with the yellow emblem. Now, personally, I want them to bring the yellow emblem in because there's something that they haven't really talked about in the movies. Since they're going more comic book approach with Alfred and Batman's discussions, I would like them to bring the emblem in so that they could do like a quick little blurb of Batman getting shot in the chest and showing that he has like heavier armor there. I would really like that because I think that would be a cool little scene in the Batcave because it would show Batman as more of like a less of a mythic figure and more of a flesh and blood character that has to take more precautions. Because in cinema, when you bring the Justice League into action, Batman's mortality and his physical attributes seem to be greatly exaggerated. Ergo, Batman using his grapple, which he could probably do. Don't get me wrong. I mean, probably two-handed he could do this, but if you go back and watch the warehouse scene again, this Batman is ripped like super bodybuilder. He uses one arm with barely any effort to bat grapple a line into a very heavy crate, and he picks it up with one hand and zings it halfway across the room into the face of another guy. I don't care how strong a normal human is, and I know it's cinema, I know it's comic books, but I would like a little bit more realism in the human characters in the DC films. I think it would have just taken a second for them to have him yank it with two hands, you know, and to show a little bit of exertion. That was the only time I saw the warehouse scene, and I was just kind of like, okay, all right. And they didn't really explain, in the books for BVS, they kind of explained why Batman was able to hurt Superman a little bit with his armored suit. And Zack was the one who came up with this idea, but Batman had actually put elements of kryptonite dust into his suit. So the reason why he was able to go blow for blow with Superman, even when the kryptonite gas wore off, is because he had traces of kryptonite on his suit. They didn't explain that in the movie. It just looked like, wow, Batman, like, doused him with kryptonite, so, yeah, that's all it took for Batman to just totally beat up Supes. It's like, no, he had a little more help than that, but you're only going to find that in the books. Because they want to omit some stuff, because they were trying to say, yeah, Batman's better than Superman, bar none. But, I mean, it makes sense. There were a lot of things from Zack's movies that they cut for screen time and, you know, for budget and all kinds of stuff. A lot of really cool banter between Alfred and Affleck that we didn't really get either, as well as Green Lantern's introduction, but oh well, it is what it is. So, like I said, the Yellow Oval would make for a more flesh and blood character, and I've noticed with a lot of the New 52 backstory stuff, New 52 and DC Rebirth, whenever they go back and they look at Batman's past career, he was using the Yellow Oval because of the protection that it offered. Like the more bulletproof stuff. So I think it would be cool, since this is a younger Batman, to bring back the Yellow Oval and give us... I would like to see kind of like a Batman INC suit in film. think that'd be pretty rad. That was a great bat suit, in my opinion. It was pretty cool. So I would like to see that suit for the Reeves Batman. At least in the first movie in the trilogy. If you want to go to the regular bat insignia, that, you know, the big boring symbol on his chest, I mean, go for it. But I'm a fan of the yellow oval. I like what it represents. I like, whenever I see the yellow oval on Batman, it makes me believe that this is, you know, a guy in a bat suit a little bit. While he does some exaggerated stuff, for me, when you see the oval, that's the Batman that got hurt more in the comics. If you go back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s, when he had the just the plain thing on his chest that even this Batman's wearing, I mean, he almost comes out more superhuman in his appearances and his comics from now on. And Jim Lee kind of started that a little bit. Although Batman did get seriously hurt, but he did go toe-to-toe with Superman, which is a kryptonite ring. I mean, yeah, like I said, whenever it's just this emblem, like just the bat on his chest, and you can go back and read older comics from the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, and you can see that was a Batman that he lost a lot. He got beat up by people like Deathstroke. He got messed up by sometimes just random hoods would get the jump on him because he wasn't a perfect person. And that's the Batman that inspired the animated series. People are always like, why was the animated series so good? Because they decided to make Batman not a mythic character. They wanted a flesh and blood guy, and that's why they didn't give him an armored suit. Did you know that Warner Brothers actually wanted the Batman that appeared in the animated series to have kind of like the Keaton-like suit, the black attire, kind of like the body armor? And during like pre-production of the show, it was Bruce Timm and the guys there that decided, you know, just to run with this idea to show our world, we're going to show Batman in just like regular spandex. So like a regular costume that's going to get cut up and tore up. And our Batman's going to get hurt from time to time, you know? So that's how that came to be. Whereas before, what Warner Brothers really wanted to do to help make the Keaton movies more interesting to people was, you know, to have him run around in body armor so everybody could be the Batman if they wanted to. Like, you just get this suit of armor like a knight. That's kind of what the mindset was when they were designing it. And most of the photography and stuff happened in London anyway, so Burton was kind of like, yeah, I could see Michael Keaton, who's not really a tall guy, putting on this suit of armor and going and beating up crime. You know, that's where that kind of idea happens. So, for me, it's important that the cloth suit comes back like we had in BVS, but I would like some things that make me believe that I'm seeing a character that could die at any second. I'm sorry, but after seeing Ben Affleck's Batman tangle with Superman, and I know that Zack Snyder planned on killing him in his trilogy, not his Batman trilogy, his Justice League movies. Like, Batman was supposed to die in them. And Clark Kent and Lois Lane's son would be named Bruce at the end to kind of like bring everything full circle. It was supposed to be like a saga like The Lord of the Rings, not so much, okay, we're making this big universe that we can play around with in 10 years. And that's part of the reason why Zack Snyder was fired, is because he had his entire movie planned out like a saga. And then that was it. And I'm done. I did my thing. I did my cool thing. I started with Man of Steel, BVS, then I did Justice League, then I did Justice League Part 2, and then I did Flashpoint, or not Flashpoint. Then I killed Batman, then I did Flashpoint, and you guys can do whatever you want now. Done. That's it. That's my movies. Lord of the Rings, enjoy it. That's part of the reason why he made them so long, too. And yeah, he killed Dick Grayson. He was going to kill Batman, too, because he wanted to give Batman a redemption thing in Justice League. Justice League was supposed to be a redemption story that we didn't really get for Batman in that movie because Whedon kind of hacked it all to pieces. Although Jason Momoa says that the original movie is still intact as the Snyder Cut, and he's seen it, and he's talking about it again, and he's making me mad because I'll never see it. I don't even think... I believe Grace has seen parts of it, and some press members have seen some stuff, because the screening that she saw before Whedon got involved was very much like Snyder's vision, part of it. So we'll never know, because Warner Brothers is never, ever, ever going to release it, unless somehow AT&T buys out Warner Brothers completely. I don't know if they have or not, but DC Comics is in trouble thanks to AT&T, but we're not going to talk about it. I want to talk about the whole Black Label and G Label. G Label. G Label is continuity, where you'll have Luke Fox as Batman, Cassie as Wonder Woman, and Jonathan as Superman. But if you want to read the Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman you like, then you're going to have to pay $7.99 for the Black Label, which will be not an Elseworlds. It'll be a what-if universe where it's not connected to canon, so it's not connected to the universe where those three die in the next crisis. But because DC is so panicked that people won't buy their woke material, which people won't, the people that actually buy comics are going to have to pay $7.99. But like I said, that is a very extensive topic for another time, and this is just all casting information. Getting back to a little bit of the plot, just because I remembered some stuff. Catwoman is supposed to be related to the Falcones, and at the time of this video, they haven't cast all the characters yet, and I don't know, other than the rogues that they've announced, what other characters are going to be in this. I'm hoping that they have mob people in it, because I don't believe you can do a long Halloween story, whodunit movie, without a lot of the principal characters. And Catwoman's ties to the mob is an important aspect of The Long Halloween, The Dark Victory, and the book that came after that. So you need to have the Falcones, you need to have the Maronis, and you need to have the Rupert Thorne characters. Those are all important people that need to make an appearance. And I'm sure they will. They're just only talking about the A characters. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, I think he'll be good, but I'm just going to be honest, I don't know how I feel about the whole thin penguin thing. To me, it doesn't feel like the Penguin. It feels like Cobblepot. The Penguin is not necessarily supposed to be a freakish in demeanor thing like Tim Burton did, but he kind of needs to live up to his name. I did not like the Penguin in the Telltale Batman stuff. I tried to. It didn't work for me. It felt weird. I mean, yeah, they had the organized crime. They had the his ties to the Wayne family, all that fun stuff. And I can see if by casting Colin Farrell, who's, I don't know if is he relatively the same age as Robert, a little bit, or no? I would have, personally, I'm just going to throw it out here. I think Colin Farrell should have been casted as Thomas Elliot. I think because they wanted to do the Hush thing with Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck really wanted to do Hush and Red Hood. Those were the movies he wanted to do. He wanted to do an Arkham thing, and then he wanted to go into Hush and Red Hood. That never happened. So now they're going backwards and starting over, and we're going to get an origin story for a young Robin that will eventually become Nightwing, which is cool. All for it. I love the Bat family. Super happy about this, but at the same time, I would have chosen Colin Farrell as Tommy Elliot because I never liked the thing in the comics where Cobblepot and Bruce Wayne were friends as kids. I never liked that aspect of the comics that happened in kind of like the 80s where they redid the Penguin. It didn't work for me. It never worked from a narrative point of view, and you never got the feeling that Bruce or Oswald ever really were friends. So if they're going with that approach by bringing in a younger actor to play the Penguin and to interact with a younger Bruce Wayne, I have a feeling that they're going to make them BFFs. And maybe it would be cool if Batman didn't know that Colin Farrell was the Penguin, but chances are he's going to know because this is going to be a very smart Batman. So like I said, it would probably be more fun to have Colin Farrell come back to be Hush. But he's Penguin. It is what it is. And he's not going to be putting on any weight for the role. I don't think it's healthy for method actors to do that kind of stuff. I don't like it when Bale gets himself all jacked 1 minute to play Batman and then gains like 400 pounds to play a fat guy. Method acting, you do not live long. It's very concerning for me when actors do that. So I don't want Colin Farrell to go visit Burger King and have like 30 cheeseburgers so he can play the Penguin. I think that would be kind of crazy. But I hope they don't do the buddy-buddy thing, because the Penguin, he played a very big role in Batman's investigation in The Long Halloween and Dark Victory, and they weren't really friends. Batman was using the Penguin for information, like a broker, kind of. Which, if Rupert Thorne is not in the movie, one thing I would like to see is the Penguin take the spot of Rupert Thorne, where Batman enters Thorne's, little greenhouse, and then strings him up by his ankles in the rain, and he's interrogating him. I want that same scene, but with Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I want to see Colin Farrell freaking out. I want to see a terrifying Batman actually interrogating people. We haven't had an interrogating Batman since Nolan, really. I mean, we've had a scary Batman, don't get me wrong. Affleck, when he was on screen, he was intimidating and terrifying, but that's because I thought he was going to kill people. I don't know if Robert's going to kill people, but we need a scary Batman too. It's okay if he's smart. It's okay if he's doing his investigation, but he needs to be frightening. He needs to stick to the shadows, and he needs to terrify the criminal underworld. You know? So, that same scene with Rupert Thorne, I want to see it with Colin Farrell's Penguin. Now, the Riddler, I don't remember him being involved with The Long Halloween. I remember him being involved with Dark Victory and some of the other spin-offs. But I can't remember if he was involved with The Long Halloween or not. I know Joker was, I think. Or maybe it was Dark Victory. I mostly remember Two-Face, his wife, Dorian Day, Mob, Scarecrow, I think, was The Long Halloween? Or is that Dark Victory? I can't remember. You have to read both of them in order to get the whole story anyway, because it's continued. So, I mean, the characters that appeared in Dark Victory don't all necessarily appear in The Long Halloween. But, I mean, if you need a refresher course for The Long Halloween, you can watch my lore video. Because I'm pretty sure I studied pretty hard for that before I did that video. But just off the top of my head, talking about other things, and we've gone all over the place tonight, talking about casting and talking about Affleck stuff and Keaton stuff. I mean, these streams go all over the place. That's why they're podcasty, in a sense, because I just like to tell you all the things that's going on in my bat brain, so to speak. Oh, that was cool. And I'm going to be opening up the floor. If you guys have questions or you have suggestions or things that you would like to see in the Batman movie, know that I have no pull at Warner Brothers or anything like that. I can't just talk to the PR guy and be like, hey, people think this would be a great idea for the movie. No. I can't even do that for the video games. I've suggested things to Rocksteady and WB Games, but I don't believe any of my suggestions have ever appeared in any of the games, except maybe the mobile. And I never played the mobile game because it sucked. So, yeah. But, yeah, just to recap, I talked about all the different actors involved. And if you guys are joining late, which is no problem, I don't know a lot of these people, so I don't watch a lot of movies that aren't, like, superhero in nature. You guys know who's playing Batman: Robert Pattinson. Jeffrey Wright is Commissioner Gordon. You will know him from The Hunger Games and Westworld. Those are movies. Zoe Kravitz will play Catwoman. She's in The Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. Paul Dano is playing Edward Nashton, which is supposed to be Edward Nygma. He will be your Riddler. Jonah Hill is not in the movie. Colin Farrell's the Penguin. Andy Serkis is Alfred, which I didn't talk a lot about that. I kind of want to talk about Andy because we've seen him in a lot of villain roles. And the man responsible for the soundtrack will be the guy who did Rogue One and Jurassic Park: The Fallen World, and, of course, The Incredibles. And The Incredibles has an amazing score. And his name is Michael Giacchino. Something like that. But let's talk about Andy real quick, and then I'll open the floor to you guys. So Andy Serkis, or Serkis, or whatever, is going to play Alfred. That's confirmed. Originally, it was rumored that he was looking into a role, but I heard Penguin, and I heard Colin Farrell for Alfred. So this is kind of a reverse of what I wanted to happen, because I think Andy is better at a more villain role than he is as a butler, and I think Colin Farrell as, like, I can... Okay, let me explain this. Because Colin Farrell, I can believe that Colin Farrell would be able to do all the stuff that Alfred could do, just like Alfred in the Bale universe was retired MI6, basically, is what, the actor who played Alfred, oh my gosh, Michael Caine, thank you. Caine, you could believe that this was a retired, secret English service guy. I don't know what you guys... You're MI6, right? Or Central Intelligence? I don't know. I only know American stuff. Sorry. I'm not a big Bond guy. But Alfred is basically Bond. Alfred has field training and medical stuff. He's an expert combatant. He's a master of disguise. When Batman was younger... Just so you know, Alfred helped Batman a lot, not just by patching him up. Alfred actually went into the field. Alfred saved Batman on more than one occasion where he had to go rough up some criminals that got the jump on Batman early in his career. Like, there were several times where Batman almost died just facing dudes with guns and knives and just being overly cocky because he was a younger Batman. And Alfred would have to figure out where Batman was and get him back and get him stitched up, and then a couple nights later, he'd be going out in the field. I can't see Andy dealing with a bunch of thugs in an alleyway if something bad were to happen to Batman. And I know that's probably not going to happen anyway, because, Batman is DC's golden boy, but it happened quite a bit in his early years. And if they're doing his early years, I would kind of like to see Batman lose a little bit. Because too often, we see that Batman's invincible, and I think that it would be more interesting for the public viewing this movie, since they're trying to do things differently, is if we actually have Batman get hurt. And we actually have Batman lose a little bit and then win. Some people die because he screws up. And not like the Batwoman screw-up deaths, where she just doesn't care that people are killed. And a lot of people die based on her stupidity. I'm talking about, Batman is trying to do the right thing, and he screws up. And people die, and, he has to carry that mess up with him so he can improve. That's the one thing... I'm kind of glad that the CW hasn't done a Batman show, besides Batwoman, because I don't think they understand. They understand Arrow, and they understand... people dying, but they don't understand the ramifications that a innocent person's life has on a character's growth. We haven't seen that, and I know a lot of people said, "Hey Luke, just watch Batwoman for 5 episodes. You'll like it more. You'll understand." Kate is still a brat. I'm 5 episodes in. She's still a moron. People still die in drones because of her actions, and she doesn't care. In fact, she has several times to stop her sister Alice, and she doesn't. She even had a gun to Alice's head in the previous episode, and she lets her go to kill again. Worst superhero ever. I mean, Arrow went around killing people, but he at least tried to nab the bad guy. She lets her go. The show is horrible, and that's why it's being moved to HBO Max to die. Because they don't get Gotham heroes. CW doesn't. Arrow, yeah, but they turned Arrow into Batman. Murder Batman. And the reason why I think they picked Kate, I don't think they did it just because of her preference with the ladies. I think they chose Kate because in the comics, Kate kills people. Kate uses guns. They can't use a superhero that doesn't really kill people. Even Barry has killed people in the CW. Not necessarily because, you know, he just went and straight up did like a reverse Flash, but Kate is a character that has to be on the CW because, yeah, that's why. But anyway, I want to see a flesh and blood Batman on the screen, and I want Robert to struggle a little bit. Not so much in his detective stuff. I want him to be brilliant. I want him to do all the stuff that Batman is able to do. Forensic science, fingerprinting, matching wits with the Riddler. Let's see. Tracking people. Like his tracking skills, and, you know, maybe a flashback of him, like, doing a cool tracking thing. I don't know. Batman's gone over the world, like, doing some training stuff. I'm not saying, hey, let's do a Batman Year One thing. Just kind of explain, like, Alfred be like, oh, sir, where did you figure out how to do this? Like, have Andy say that. Except I think it'd be, like, an Australian Alfred. I think that's what Andy Serkis is. Or maybe he's British. I don't know. He sounded Australian in that Black Panther movie. I don't know where he's from. I've only seen him in Black Panther, and
I've only seen him as Gollum's. We wants it. Gives us the ring. Gollum, Gollum. Oh, there it is. There's Gollum. Nasty, evil hobbitses. I am Alfred Pennyworth. I work with the Batman. Nah. Smeagol. I work with Batman.
sorry. There it is. I had him buried away somewhere. So, yeah. Smeagol is Alfred. But, yeah, that's the kind of stuff I want to see. And with Andy, I don't know. He's going to be very funny. He's going to be funny as Alfred. So we're going to get a lot of banter. Banter's good. Banter's fun. You know. But I can't see this guy being a field medic. Or what are they doing with Andy? Are they going to have Andy, like... Is he losing weight for the role? Is he going to get more fit? Is he just going to be like the goofy butler? Because there's been a goofy Alfred Butler in the 60s. Which maybe they're borrowing from that. But that Alfred... Well, he wasn't cool Alfred. Like, and by I mean cool Alfred, retired Bond type guy who really was beneficial to patching up Batman and helping out the younger Batman. It sounds like the Watson of the movies will not be Alfred, so not a Michael Caine or even Henry. Was it Jeremy Irons or Henry? Who played who played Alfred for Affleck? What's his name? Irons something? I don't remember. Is it Jeremy Irons? Jeffrey Irons? Jeremy Irons. Okay, thank you. You know, that Alfred, that to me was like, this is a dude who knows his stuff. I think it would be cool to kind of go back, if they're doing the Sarkis version of Alfred, I think they would get away with, because that actor is very funny. I don't know if he intentionally tries to be funny or if he's, you know, just very, very serious. But I would like to see the goofy Alfred from the old Batman comics. Now, keep in mind, this Alfred was not... he wasn't very helpful other than being like this kind of nice grandfathery father figure to Bruce. He had no training. He wasn't a doctor or a field medic. He, you know, was just kind of like a cool dad figure. It was funny and did great banter, but that Alfred was blown up to tiny bits and replaced in DC Comics with a thin Alfred. So, a thin, you know, MI6 Alfred. I believe he had a different name, though. He wasn't Alfred Pennyworth. He had I think he was just Alfred Beagle, I think was his name. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. I know he was a roly-poly guy, great cook, very funny, and he worked really well with the Adam Westy style of Alfred, something like that. Little fun trivia for you. Did you know that Alfred was actually killed off before he appeared in the Batman series, like the Adam West show? People realized that Alfred was not a cool character, and DC didn't like using him anymore. So right before the 60s Batman show was greenlighted, Alfred, the roly-poly version, was killed. And they got rid of him. And then when it was... Because originally they were going to use Dick Grayson's aunt, Harriet... Oh, Aunt Harriet. I don't remember her last name. Of course, Dick Grayson doesn't really have family, but they were making original characters back then in the Silver Age, the goofy time of the Batman comics. So Alfred wasn't going to be the person in the show. Originally, it was just going to be Harriet, like Aunt Harriet. And they figured that Aunt Harriet needed someone to bounce stuff off, and they got this really good actor who heard about the character Alfred and he wanted to play it. And so DC had to fix some things, and eventually they brought Alfred back, but it was a different Alfred, or something altogether. It was really weird. It doesn't really need to make sense. It's not like Batman and Robin would really notice the difference with Alfred because he just brought cookies, but this Alfred was very stoic and gentlemanlike, and, you know, then later, I think it was the 70s or the 80s, they gave him a backstory of this guy's retired MI6 and all this other stuff. So the whole MI6 Alfred came from replacement Alfred, not the original. Or not one of the originals. There was also a thin, older Alfred before they went with the roly-poly guy. Because of the whole Comics Authority thing, they were trying to make comics more cartoony and stuff like that. So the thin Alfred, there's been 3 Alfreds. Thin, older Alfred, which is the Alfred that is based on in the 89 Batman movie. Just kind of like this kindly old butler guy. We've never had roly-poly Alfred yet in the movies. I think we're going to get that with Andy, but we might not. I mean, he could be playing like a claw version of Alfred. I don't know. He's a talented actor. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do. I don't know. I have a feeling that we're going to get kind of like a levity Alfred, because this is going to be like it's a murder mystery movie. It's not going to get an R rating or anything like that, but it's going to be a pretty dark film. Long Halloween is a very dark, twisted story with a twist ending that people didn't see coming and were very disturbed by. So they need to keep those elements. So it's not going to be a movie you want to take your kids to necessarily. You can, but if they're doing a full-on adaptation, it gets pretty brutal. Because it's about a serial killer. Batman is tracking a serial killer on the holidays. So, and then it kind of continues in The Dark Victory a little bit. And The Dark Victory has some pretty bad stuff happen too, that people die because of Batman and Robin's actions. So, I mean, you know, that these core elements need to appear in the movie. But anyway, I've pretty much exhausted all the things in my mind. Now comes the part of the podcast where I open up the floor and take your guys' comments. You can ask me anything Batman related, although I do have a cutoff for how long I'll do your question, because it's me and I can talk for a very, very long time on just one topic. Heck, this whole video was 3 topics, and we are now an hour and 15 minutes. The topics were the cast, the Batman fighting style, which will be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the Batman voice, which became a 20-minute topic, and then we went back and we talked about some of the different actors, like Colin Farrell, Smeagol, things like that. So, yeah. Be warned. It can go anywhere. It's me we're talking about. So, oh gosh. All right, I'm just going to stand still for a second. I'm opening up the thing. And thank you so much for the super chats. And I'm going to... we also have some members here, too. So let me just open up your guys' comment section, and we'll get that squared away. Fantastic. So hopefully you guys are having fun. I see that there's about 500... it's close to 700 of you guys just watching me talk. Cool. Nice. Very cool of you guys to join me on a late Wednesday night. All right. Activate live stream on my phone. And let's take some comments. I hope Robert doesn't kill. You and me both. Blaze Survivor is typing in the chat. Maybe Duke Thomas is Robin? It's going to be Dick Grayson. I know that for a fact, because this is going to tie into the Nightwing movies. what you're going to see, which is going to be different, you're going to have a Dick Grayson Robin that starts young. Whoa, I'm hearing myself. I don't want to do that. So Duke Thomas, he can be introduced like in later Batman films, but we know for a fact that it's Dick Grayson, and Dick Grayson is going to become Nightwing in the future, like the current present DC universe after their whole Flashpoint thing. Because Dick Grayson was killed in the BVS universe, unfortunately. He's the only Robin to have existed, and the next Robin was supposed to be Carrie Kelly. Yeah. So, boo. Yeah. So you're going to see Kid Robin, which makes sense because Kid Robin is very impressionable. He makes a lot of mistakes, and in The Dark Victory, people died because of Kid Robin, which goes on to haunt older Dick Grayson in canon. And it's kind of why he doesn't become the dark person that Batman is, a little bit. So it's not connected to the DCU. Not right now, no. Do you think Barbara will show up? I'm not really liking the Commissioner Gordon casting. The only problem I have with the Commissioner Gordon casting is I don't think they're thinking very clear about this. And, you know, he's a great actor, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that they understand that Commissioner Gordon lives in the ghetto. He doesn't live in a nice place. He came from a very rough part of Chicago, which, if they keep it for Jeffrey, I think a lot of woke journalists are going to say that Matt Reeves is racist because he's portraying Commissioner Gordon the way he's supposed to be. They're thinking that Commissioner Gordon is going to live in a mansion or in a high-rise. That's not Jim. Jim lives in the dumps, even when he's commissioner. So a lot of his characterization might make some people mad once they see the movie, because that's how Jim is. Jim did not come from a cushy, happy job. He came from the ghettos of Chicago. And he comes to Gotham, which is worse than Chicago in the DC universe. So what they might be doing, the Watson character, since they're going with Sherlock Holmes, Commissioner Gordon is going to be hanging out a lot with Batman. It's going to be kind of like a buddy cop thing. I've confirmed this with Warner Brothers and some people that have read some of the script. It's not a bad thing. Ow. Mind you, Batman just got run over because I was standing in the street.
Watch it, buddy.
Yeah, you better run. Yeah, you better run! I got your license and registration, punk. See, this is why I don't really hang out on the ground when I'm talking. Oh, no. Yeah, that's fine. You know what? We're going to go up on a high-rise so I can answer your guys' questions. But yeah, I just... It's a problem when you cast, like, different people of color in roles that might not be a great fit for them because of just how that character is. I think Jeffrey would have been better as Harvey Dent, personally, because if they're going for, like, a high society type guy who has it all, that's Harvey Dent, and then he loses everything. That would be cool. Also, I think it'd be a nice homage to the Two-Face that we never got with Billy D. I mean, that's just me spitballing. That's probably how I would cast stuff. But, you know, that's me. Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm telling you right now that the biggest problem that people are going to have with Matt Reeves' film is they're not... The thing that they will nitpick the most, I guarantee you, because I know how woke journalists think, they're going to tear to shreds, not the performance of Jeffrey. They're not going to like the characterization of Jim Gordon. They're going to be like, why is he living in a dump? Are they trying to say that, you know, people of color come from bad backgrounds? They're going to spin this like crazy, you know? And that's the problem I have with the casting. Is because, I mean, I think that he would make a phenomenal Commissioner Gordon. I think that he is a brilliant actor, and they're going to have a lot of fun with the role, and he's going to be more of a sidekick than Alfred and some of the other characters. But I think that they're going to bring up his past a lot, and, you know, I think that might be a problem. Because this is an early thing, and if he's still married to his wife, they didn't. Jim was not an officer that had a lot of money. He never did. He believed that people who come from rough neighborhoods are not criminals. Like, it's not necessarily where you were born that creates the problem. It's the choices you make in life. And he came from a rough neighborhood, and he did all this stuff and, became commissioner eventually. And him living in the ghetto and working with people and seeing how people are, like his neighbors and stuff like that, he's not a judgmental person. So it's your actions that make you a criminal. It's the choices you make. Harvey Dent didn't need to become a crazy psychopath. After he had the acid sprayed on his face, he chose to do that. Joker, you could argue after he fell in the vat of chemicals, his mind was already shattered after the events of the Killing Joke, and that was it for Joker. Joker, I'll give you. But some of these other characters, they all had choices to go down the path. Just like Batman had the choice to don the mask and to do the stuff he does. It's choices. Not where you live, not what you do. That's my interpretation of Batman stories. And for most part, that's what I've seen for the longest time with that stuff. It's always choices, not where you're living currently. I didn't think about, not because of the ethnicity change, but because if it does happen, it'll be the second time they failed to adapt her properly. Barbara Gordon, we don't need to worry about. They have a... I don't like when it gets into these race topics, but most likely Barbara Gordon is going to be white, and you've seen her, well, not white, Hispanic, redheady, I don't know, the actress who played her in Bumblebee and some other things. They have their mindset of who they want Batgirl to be, because Batgirl's going to have her own solo movie, and they're going to have a thing with Dick Grayson as kind of like a romance Nightwing thing going on. So they already have... They're going to have a lot of different nationalities play Batman villains from now on. This is how DC's going to go. But pretty sure Batgirl's going to be how she is. Maybe. I have a feeling she's going to be either mixed, or she's going to be a Latino, or... I'm hoping they're going to do the redhead thing. There's a trend that I'm noticing that kind of I wasn't aware of, about the replacing of gingers in comics in Hollywood. Like when they do these characters, like these comic book characters, there's a lot of redheaded people that have been replaced that I didn't even know about until I saw the list. And I was like, really? It's been that many? It's been 40 characters in this many years? That can't... No, they're not. Hollywood's not trying to go for the ginger... Oh, wait, maybe they are. I don't know. So if Barbara Gordon gets replaced as a ginger, that'll be interesting. I hope it reboots the DCEU. Apparently the Wonder Woman movie is going to, somehow do that. Isn't Matthew McConaughey Two-Face? If he wasn't, he should be. I don't know who's playing Harvey Dent yet. They're still deciding it. Matthew McConaughey's name has come up, but so far, Colin Farrell's Penguin, Andy Serkis, whatever, Alfred, Riddler is some guy named, hang on, I have to look at my notes again, because I've never heard of this guy. I don't watch a lot of movies, sorry. Paul Dano is Riddler. Zoe is Selena. So you've got the only villains that have been cast so far is Catwoman, Riddler, Penguin. They have not cast Firefly. They have not cast Scarecrow, if he's even going to appear in this. They have not cast Calendar Man or... what was the other? Hang on. Now I got to count on my fingers again. There's going to be a lot of villains in this. Penguin is the broker. Catwoman is the love interest / thief / gets in the middle of everything. Firefly is the anarchist. that causes problems. Might be the serial killer. I don't know if they replace Firefly with Dorian Day. Two-Face is supposed to be in it as Harvey Dent / Two-Face. Joker's not in it. Scarecrow, I've heard he's supposed to be, but I don't know. And Riddler's in it. Did I say Riddler twice? I might have. Still, that's like 7 villains. Something like that. Not counting the mob people. This is going to be a very big movie. But it's a world that as soon as you come into it and you hear that score by the dude who does The Incredibles, and you have to admit, when you went to the theater and you were at The Incredibles movie, I don't know about you guys, but what really sucked me into that movie, because I thought I was seeing a kid's movie at first, was the soundtrack. As soon as that theme played, it was like, boom, I'm in this world. You know, I get it. I get it. It's like, snap, boom, I'm here. What's going on? What are we doing? Whoa. Superheroes are wiped out, or they're in hiding. Okay. A superhero family. Whoa. You know? The score is going to set the tone for this. And that's a good thing. I love when movies do that. I am sick and tired of atmospheric scores. I hate that. I want themes. Themes are good for superheroes. MCU gets it. MCU did not atmospheric stuff. They have character themes, like the old Batman movies of the 80s, you know, and the Superman films. And those are themes. The Avengers theme is going to be iconic. People are always going to, when they hear that theme, boom, they're going to think Avengers. You know? There needs to be another Batman theme. There has to be music that sets the pace for the film. Atmospheric does not work anymore, and it certainly doesn't work in superhero films. Nolan somehow got it to work, but I did not like Zack Snyder's composer. I didn't like him. It didn't work for those movies. And Justice League didn't really mesh well either. It was like, you were hearing so many different things. It would have been cool to have the Incredibles guy do the Justice League soundtrack. That would have been interesting, but that's just me. I'm going off on a tangent on compositions now. I heard the Mad Hatter was rumored for the film. Yeah, Arkham's going to appear in the movie. That is still staying true, so you could have cameos of the Mad Hatter. You have to understand, there could be tons of characters in this. In the animated series, how many characters did Batman interact with in a given episode? Tons! Did you need a backstory of every single one of them? No! Why? Because it had fantastic writing. The people involved with this film are very good at writing. So you are going to go into the theater 2021, you're going to sit there in the seat, and you are going to be transported into Gotham in the 1990s. You're not going to care about all the other stuff that happened before. What you're going to know is this is Batman. Batman has a lot of villains. Batman's been doing his job for like 4 to 5 years. Batman has a really tight relationship with Commissioner Gordon. You know, that's all you're going to need to know. And you're going to see some villains, you know, transformed right in front of you. People that you like. You're going to see Two-Face go from Harvey Dent, the dashing DA, like in the Nolan universe, but in a more tragic setting, because we didn't see a lot of his personal life. Yeah, he was dating Rachel Dawes, but, I mean, the guy was married and he was going to have kids. You know, his whole life gets destroyed because of his interaction with not just Jim Gordon, but the Holiday Killer and Batman and all the crazy stuff going on in the Long Halloween. You are going to feel more for this Two-Face than Eckhart. And Eckhart, amazing actor, don't get me wrong. But he didn't have enough setup. You know what I mean? I think that Two-Face would have been more memorable if he appeared in more films. And originally, Nolan was making not just 3 movies, he had 4 movies planned. And Two-Face was going to be the big bad of the 3rd movie. Dark Knight was just going to be about the Joker. The one thing Nolan did not want to do, which, of course, because of Heath Ledger's passing, some things had to change. Stuff that they shot from the other movie, the 3rd movie, had to become part of the 2nd movie. That's part of the reason why The Dark Knight was so long, is he wanted to put as much Heath Ledger in the movie as possible. And Ledger basically shot for 2 movies. And Two-Face, I think they were going to do it on a cliffhanger. And then have Two-Face doing all the crazy stuff in the third movie. And then I don't know who the fourth villain was supposed to be. I believe it was supposed to be the Riddler or something else. I mean, this was something that was going to be ongoing forever, but when you have a character that is close to the cast die, it kind of changes everything. It changes the people you want to work with. It changes how your vision for the whole world was. Everything changes. And I think they did a great job finishing out The Dark Knight Rises the way they did, but it took them some time to get there because everyone was just so distraught. It changed everything. It changed the story. It changed... Everything just had to be completely... It was almost like The Dark Knight Rises was a complete reboot. And it kind of worked, but I don't know. You know? I hope Pattinson has a cool Batmobile. I think he will, but I don't know what type of Batmobile he's going to have, to be honest. We'll find out. I mean, part of me, since they're going with the Incredibles guy for the music, which I have the Incredibles theme in my head right now, I'm thinking that we're going to see a car, or we could see a bike for Batman's mode of transportation. He didn't really have a, quote, Batmobile in his early years, which is fine. I mean, he developed one over time, which made for some pretty cool storytelling and things like that. You don't know how long Keaton has been Batman in the 89 movie. They never tell you. It's not something you really need to know. They were just trying to make a really cool movie. But he wouldn't really be driving a flashy car like that, like during his first couple months as Batman, but they're never really clear how long he's been doing what he does in Gotham. He's just kind of an urban myth. This Batman is not going to be an urban myth. Commissioner Gordon, according to Robert and Matt Reeves, is playing like a Watson to Sherlock Holmes' Batman. That's the mentality it is. So you're going to see a lot of Jim. You'll see more of Jim than you saw in The Dark Knight, because he is going to meet up with Batman. Some of you might not like it, but this is not going to be Batman is at ends with the police. That's all in the past. This is going to be like when I was a kid, the Batman books, Batman would show up at Commissioner Gordon's office, and just like in the animated series, they would talk. It wasn't always on top of the rooftop with the bat signal. They were friends. You know, so you're going to see a friendship between Commissioner Gordon and Batman that you haven't really seen on screen before, because he's ripping it straight from the comics. And Matt Reeves and Pattinson and some other cast members have watched things about the animated series. So if you enjoyed the interaction between Commissioner Gordon and Batman in those types of media, then you're going to like the Batman a lot. I'm looking forward to that. But the problem is, I don't want Commissioner Gordon to be smarter than Batman, because I think that will lead to some problems. But that's just me. Jim is smart, but he's not the world's greatest detective. You know what I mean? So, and I'm pretty sure in the modern movies that Watson is like super intelligent. So, I've only... my phone just died. Dang it. I've only seen a couple modern Sherlock Holmes movies, but it felt like Jude Law was smarter than Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes. Am I wrong in assuming that, or a little bit? Am I a little off there, or? What will the Batman symbol look like? No idea. They haven't released any type of art or anything like that of the Batsuit. Nothing. I think it would be funny if William Dafoe ends up being the Joker, though. I mean, with makeup on his face, he doesn't have to look like... Wait a second. Hey, guys, does William Dafoe look similar to Joaquin Phoenix at all? Do they have, like, a similar look to them? Or no? Yes, Batman should have the white eyes. Not really? Okay. I was going to say, I've heard murmurings of an older Joker in Matt Reeves' Batman movies. And based on how much fun Robert had working with William Dafoe, and William Dafoe saying he's always wanted to play the Joker, That's kind of the role he played when he did Spider-Man, is he was, like, doing a crazier version of his interpretation of the Joker. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it would work if he had face makeup on or something like that. Should Killer Croc be in the movie? No. Killer Croc should not be in the first movie. Unless he's in Arkham. And the only way... Here's what I would like. I think would blow the audience and comic fans away is... Picture this. Robert Pattinson is going into Arkham to get information. He's either talking to the Penguin or he's talking to somebody else. And he's walking past doors that are grimly lit in Arkham. And I'm talking like horror movie. Like horror movie, like visual of Batman walking through Arkham. And you see all the names of the inmates. And Killer Croc's arm reaches out of the cell to try to grab Batman. And you see Robert dodge and just keep walking forward like Croc is nothing. That is the type of Killer Croc I would like to see in cinema. Like a jump scare that just freaks the audience out and the popcorn just goes flying and Batman does his stuff. That would put you right into this world. It would also show you that there are tons of villains that could pop up. That would be cool. And they've already said there's going to be some scary elements in this movie. So I've heard that you're going to see a lot of villains. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to see a lot of casted actors. And this was something that they planned on doing with Affleck's movies. When he's walking through Arkham and he's trapped, you were going to see a list of all the different inmates. And there was going to be tons of Batman villains in Arkham. Some casted, some not. So, yeah, that would be cool. That's how I would do it. Because then already you have like this amazing thing of Killer Croc. But no, I don't think he's going to appear. I think you'll see different villains listed. Maybe in Batman's crime database. Something like that. But, I mean, I would be cool if they take that idea. They haven't started filming yet. Feel free to, Matt Reeves. Take it. Take it. There you go. That would work. Poison Ivy, I don't think she's going to show up till the Dark Victory, personally. I don't remember her in the Long Halloween, and I can't double check my phone right now because it's dead. If I move the microphone to look up all the characters that were in the Long Halloween, you know, I can't. Sorry. I can tell you guys the plot of the Long Halloween off the bat, but I can't remember all the characters. I would have to start at the very beginning and go through the entire story piece by piece, and then I'll remember. And that would take... How long was that lore video? 45, 50 minutes? Something like that? It was pretty long. It was a pretty long discussion. So I'm not doing that. But Scarecrow could work. And we know there's going to be horror elements because Matt Reeves likes to scare people. So I've heard that his Planet of the Apes movies had some terrifying parts to them. So expect a lot of spooky stuff in the Batman movie. I can use your phone? Thank you, sweetie. And I love you too. Yeah, you should take your antibiotic or your blood pressure. Oh yeah, my phone is dead. That's right. Thank you. Freeze needs to be played by an actor who shows vulnerability. I agree, Blackwing. But Freeze doesn't show up for some time. So I have my phone here, Amber's phone, and I'm putting in the Long Halloween so I can see all the characters involved. Real quick. I'm typing as you. All right, Long Halloween cast of characters, and the Long Halloween was three books. Long Halloween specials: Batman Haunted Night, Dark Victory, and also Catwoman When in Rome. Oh, I forgot about that. They could do a Catwoman spin-off movie if they wanted to. Catwoman When in Rome is a great story, and it's set in the same continuity as the Long Halloween. There's a lot you could play with this, actually. Okay, so here are the characters. Harvey Dent, James Gordon, the Maroney family, the Falcone family, Dorian Day, Arkham Asylum, Two-Face, Scarecrow, Joker, Mad Hatter, Poison Ivy, and Riddler. Okay, so you're right. Joker and Poison Ivy did appear. They made appearances. Oh, because the Holiday Killer was using them. Oh, that's right. He was playing them. I mean, they were playing them. There's more than one Holiday Killer in the book. I don't know what they're going to do in the movie. But, yeah. They were all being played, and Joker was not thrilled with it. That's why they showed up. I did cut your medicine, honey. You think... Wait, you think you took your blood pressure again? Because I... Really? Check your pill box, hon. But yeah, right there you can see Arkham Asylum played a big role. Joker's not going to be in it. I know that. Mad Hatter could be. Poison Ivy could be. If Mad Hatter and Poison Ivy are in the movie and Scarecrow, I'm going to say they're cameos. Riddler is going to be kind of like orchestrating the events probably, because they said he's going to match wits with the Riddler, and he didn't really do a lot of that. It is a reboot. Good night, honey. Alright, so Batman Haunted Night, which is part of the Long Halloween stuff. So it goes, Long Halloween. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, Long Halloween. Hang on. This story... Batman the Long Halloween, this story cannot precede it. So, wait, it's a... Catwoman in Rome takes place 6 months before. How are they going to cover all this stuff? Dick Grayson is in Dark Victory. Okay. Alright, let me see Dark Victory again, because I just want to... No, you can't turn this continuity into the Nightfall arc. That's not going to work. That's not connected anyway. That's just... No. Dark Victory. I think Dark Victory and One in Rome are going to be the trilogy that they're going to do. Yeah, the Hangman. The person who is responsible for killing people because of Dick Grayson's failure. Yeah. Written by Chuck Dixon, the man. Characters in Dark Victory. More Falcones. See, you can't do the Long Halloween without the Falcones. Falcones come into the sequels. Dark Victory, One in Rome. They're all connected. Arkham Asylum's also in Dark Victory. Riddler's in Dark Victory, so he'll be back. Solomon Grundy appears. The Hangman. Corrupt Officer, Dick Grayson. Joker and Scarecrow. Calendar Man returns. And One in Rome. Oh! And Mr. Freeze makes his debut in Dark Victory. Oh, now I know why I heard Freeze's name. Now I know why. I forgot about that. Now, One in Rome, who are the villains in that? It's just a Falcone story, right? Yeah, Carmine Falcone. Batman, Mr. Freeze. So he gets introduced in Dark Victory, and then he plays a big role in One in Rome. And they go to the Vatican. Scarecrow's back. Joker's kind of mentioned. Matt Reeves is really smart, you guys. Matt Reeves is very, very smart. If you're trying to pick something, a good comic thing, to basically branch off your trilogy, he's brilliant. He is freaking brilliant. That's incredible. I forgot about that, because I haven't done a lore on the Dark Victory or some of that other stuff yet. Holy cow. But they need to cast the Falcones. You can't do the Long Halloween without them because they appear in all the other things. And they have a huge... They have a huge connection to Catwoman because she is a Falcone. Her father is a member of organized crime. Year 1, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Rome are the end of traditional crime. That's right. 3 movies. Huntress is a Helena Brintley, the Bertinelli family is another crime family in Gotham. They could introduce okay, I don't know if you know this, but the Bertinelli family is massacred by another crime family. So if they're trying to create they even said they're bringing the Bat family into this universe. Huntress is part of the Bat family. Her family is massacred by another mob family. She's one of the sole survivors. And then she goes on a hunt for all different mob people as she gets older. When she's a little kid, her family's killed. They're all dead. She's the only survivor. Her and her uncle, I believe. Catwoman was abandoned, but she is the daughter of a mob family. I'm pretty sure it's Carmine Falcone is her father. But it's an idea that they've toyed around with, but I don't know if it's something that ever clearly came out. You have to remember, there's so many different writers in the Batman, like, books, for the past, like, 80 years, and only the past 30 years have they really dealt with the whole organized crime thing a lot. Alright, that'll take care of that fool next time he messes with me. Batman has to lose to Deathstroke in the beginning of the movie. I don't think they can use Deathstroke right now. Maybe they can. Unless he gets killed off in the Titans series this year. And then Deathstroke would be able to be used. I don't remember where Deathstroke appeared, though. Patton said Batman's not a hero. Well, he's not really. Batman is a vigilante. Batman is someone who, you know, to characterize him as a superhero or a hero, he does heroic things, but he's not what you would classify as a hero because he's kind of a bad guy. His brand of justice is not happy-go-lucky. And Pattinson is not wrong in that assessment of the character, and especially the fact that he's learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is a very lethal martial arts. It means quite possibly Batman could kill people or maim them very, very badly, cripple people. Things that, you know, Pattinson reading the role would kind of be like, whoa, I mean, Batman's kind of a villain too. Except he's on the side of good, just barely. I mean, he could work with that a lot. If he needs to do that for his performance to, like, be very dark and moody and, you know, the kind of Batman we've seen in the comics, cool, whatever. Okay. Do I think Pattinson would be better than Keaton or Bale? Well, Bale... Bale's Batman was kind of the 70s Batman. Kind of. The books that they used and they gave Bale for, you know, characterization and things like that. The things they had him read, like The Man Who Falls, all this stuff, the Demon, the Ra's al Ghul stuff, the Scarecrow books. They didn't really have them source a lot of Frank Miller-y stuff. He was familiar with The Dark Knight Returns, but he said he didn't really like that version of Batman, so his Batman wouldn't be the 80s Batman or the Frank Miller Batman. Is DC Universe going to shut down? It's very possible that they're going to be moved to HBO Max. Just like Batwoman is being moved to HBO Max, from what I hear, because her ratings are... Even though she has a 22-episode season, she's probably going to be leaving the CW by the start of 2020. Good things do happen when you wait. But, yeah, Titans, it's not in trouble, but the DC Universe app it has a lot of stiff competition, and since HBO Max is going to be like the thing that's really going to put Disney through its paces because it's got family-friendly stuff, teen stuff, and R-rated stuff, whereas Disney Plus only has PG, PG-13. So the fact that they would get the DC stuff, because they haven't really said where all the DC movies are coming from yet. And right now, all that stuff is... a lot of that stuff is being moved to HBO Max already. So, I mean, yeah, I don't see DC Universe app surviving past 2020, to be honest. I think it's all going to be moved over to HBO Max. But we're on the Batman stuff right now. Thank you for the question, though. That was a good question. Professor Pig will probably be in a more modern Batman movie. We're going into the 90s right now. And also, I remember, we were talking about Bale. So Bale was the 70s version of Batman. Whether you like it or not, Affleck was the 80s Frank Miller Batman. He was that Batman, and that's what he liked. When it came to source material, most of the stuff that Ben read, I kid you not, was Frank Miller. And even the All-Star Frank Miller stuff. So if Robin appeared in his movies, I don't think that Affleck's Batman would have won a lot of favor with people with his treatment of Robin, because Miller's All-Star run, All-Star Batman, is kind of crazy. Having Robin eat rats and all that other stuff. And was pretty abusive and very bad. But we've already had 80s Batman. So Reeves Batman is going to be a accumulation of 90s storytelling Batman, and from what I've heard, Jeff Loeb and or Jeff Loeb, or whatever you want to call him. And, you know, their version of Batman was not 80s or 70s. He had some darkness to him, but he also had, like, that light to be necessary to mesh well with the Bat family. So, yeah. He made him eat rats and trapped him in a cave. Yeah, I know. So, if Robin ever appeared in Affleck's thing, Affleck would have been very jerky to Robin, because he was familiar with the Frank Miller source material, and that's the stuff Zach had him read. He didn't really have him read a lot of Nightfall stuff. He didn't really... None of the 90s Batman stories. They at one time thought about doing The Long Halloween, but they didn't do that for their trilogy. They're doing The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb, who was a famous writer who ended up going to Marvel, and he was with Marvel Television. So the Daredevil guy, he did a lot of the animated stuff, and the dude started out as a DC guy. So, you know, I wish he would come back to DC, because they don't have talented people there anymore. You know, he was the dude who brought Red Hood back to life. All right, sorry, Jason. He was the guy who brought Jason back, I think. Or I might be thinking of two different people. There are two J people, two really good writers that start with J. That either that or he's just aged rapidly, because when I saw the Red Hood documentary, it looked like a younger dude, and when I saw recent interviews, the dude looks like he's almost 50 now. So it might be the same guy. Reeves was taught by Loeb in screenwriting class? Oh my gosh. That's why. No wonder the more I keep hearing about the Long Halloween adaptation being so good. This is going to be a really good movie. No wonder the dude is so good at writing. Holy crap. Wow. Should the composer do an animated series Mask of the Phantasm styled score? I'm honestly kind of sick of Hans Zimmer. There is no atmospheric music. You missed who I said the composer is. The guy who is doing the score, who they locked down, is the composer who did Rogue One and all the Incredibles Pixar movies. This is a guy who is known for film scores and character themes. This Batman score is going to be awesome. No more junkie, no more Zimmer, real superhero themes. This is a big deal that they got this guy. Because in my opinion, his interpretation of the Star Wars stuff is a lot better than John Williams' prequel run. And the stuff he did in Force Awakens. Rogue One Star Wars music was the best I've heard since the 80s. And this is the dude who is doing the new Batman Trilogy. I can't say his name because I'm going to butcher it. It's like Michael Gianchi. Dang it. Gion. I said it once right this entire time, and now I can't. He's really good. I love his music. I'm sorry for butchering your name, dude. But he's good. That's all you need to know. Animated series had the best score. Well, that was Danny Elfman. It was Danny Elfman, and Shirley Walker was his understudy, and then she created her own world based on his one theme. So yeah, animated series music, bar none, awesome. I would love to have a lot of horns back, but I also want a symphony. I want some creepy music for when Batman's, like, you know, in danger. When I'm in this movie, like, when I'm sitting in the theater next 2 years from now, whatever, I want to be scared. I want to be on the edge of my seat. I want to know that, you know, even though we know Batman survives, I want to be tricked that this is a character that has stakes. I'm sick and tired of overpowered superheroes. You know? I need to see, like, there's some type of stuff that's going to happen. Yeah, he's the guy who did Lost. There you go. See, people know who he is. This is something to get excited about. This is more reason. So you got the cinematographer who did Star Wars Rogue One. And you have the composer from Star Wars Rogue One. You've got the writer of and filmmaker of a understudy of one of the best comic book writers in the past 30 years. You've got an all-star A-list actor cast so far. You're adapting one of the best trilogies in a comic book arc of all time. Yeah, there's the only way they can ruin this movie, there's only one way, is if they go overly woke. If they veer off from the source material and they try to experiment with things, don't do that. Focus on the storytelling. Don't do crazy stuff. You don't have to do that kind of stuff. It's okay to put in whoever you want to be in the movie, whatever nationality, but do not veer off from what you're supposed to do with the story, because that will kill the movie. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about. Everything else sounds amazing. I'm more hyped for this movie than I was for when I heard about Nolan's stuff, because yeah, there was I was excited about the composer back in 2004 that they locked down to do it. Zimmer did okay, but he also had Goldstein, I believe, someone else with it. I can't remember the guy. Jerry Goldsmith. No, wait. Oh, dang it. Who was the composer who worked with Zimmer? Ugh. The only good Batman score was Batman Begins. What was that guy's name? He quit for The Dark Knight. Batman Begins composer. What is his name? It's Jerry something. It's only in one movie. But Zimmer kept using his score. Dang it. Give me a second. James Newton Howard. That's it. James Newton Howard. Yes. The legend. The guy who created the Batman Begins theme. It Yeah, I was excited for that composer, and then I heard Hans Zimmer was going to be in it with him, and I was just kind of like, can they work well together? And then it was like, whoa. But then he left for The Dark Knight, and it was kind of like, it's like when you have a brilliant team that's working together and you break them up, you know, it's not the same result. Like, DC Comics worked really well with Dan Didio and Jim Lee working together, and with Dan there by himself, DC is being run into the ground. Sometimes you need another person to help you out, you know? Zimmer's music for Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises was the same stuff that you heard in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. At least there was kind of like character themes, or there was some variations of something going on because of James Newton Howard. With him gone, it's just kind of like, okay, that's what we got. See, I was never a fan of Zimmer. Sorry, I don't like that style of music. That's not superheroes for me. That's just noise. It is actually noise. He doesn't even call himself a composer. He says he plays with sounds. That's what he does. He plays with sounds and he makes music. No Dan Dido rant, no rant tonight. They even got Greg for the cinematography, who did the Star Wars Rogue One. Yup, they did. They did. So expect a lot of really cool shots of Batman, especially in Arkham. Everything's just going to be so cool. I've read Batman 83, yeah. Which ongoing comic is worth reading? There are so many. I'm a fan of Bane. Let's not talk about Bane right now. No spoilers! No spoilers! With Bane books, oh my gosh, my guy. Yeah, go to Nightfall. Read Nightfall. Go back in the 90s. You'll love it. You'll love it. It's better. It's better than Tom King's run. I'll tell you that. If you want a really cool Bane, start in Nightfall and then go all the way to Legacy and what other good stuff was he in? Gosh. I can't remember the name of the stories, but anything 90s, you'll be fine. Anything written by Chuck Dixon is the best Bane. Tom King ruined Bane, just like he ruined Alfred and Nightwing and pretty much everyone he touches. The man has the Midas touch of death. Doesn't turn things to gold, it just kills them. Yeah, more or less. Bane of the Demon. Yes. Yes, good. Very good. We don't need Clayface right now. You don't, no. Here's the villains we're going to need now. I know what they're doing now. I know where they're going with this. I know I can talk about this for years, where they're going with the trilogy. You know? And, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Now that I know what he's doing, now that I know he is an understudy of the legend who did The Long Halloween, oh my gosh, Matt Reeves, I love you. All right. So yeah, we're going to see Mr. Freeze. Not in this movie, but we're going to see him in the trilogy. We're going to see Ivy. We're going to see Joker. Going to see Scarecrow. Calendar Man. The mob stuff. Oh my gosh. No Clayface, though. I don't believe. Clayface didn't show up in those books. A lot of Two-Face. A lot of Riddler. Joker. Lot of Two-Face. Lot of great stuff with Two-Face. Oh my gosh. Mr. Freeze. Very tragic stuff. Very good. Oh, so good. Oh, just don't bring Arnold back. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! Ha 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 ha! Yes! Yes, I like punny freeze. No more freeze for you, Arnold. Oh, gosh. But yeah, I'm excited. I am. I'm going to speculate so much on the future movies. Calendar Man is important to the story of The Long Halloween. Nice to meet you. Cool party. Yes. And if you do it right, I mean, Matt Hagen could appear in a spin-off or something, or a Suicide Squad movie or something. But No, he's not. He's not vital to the Long Halloween. He's not in Dark Victory, I don't believe. He's not in When in Rome. This man has... I know Reeves has everything drafted. He has his entire trilogy planned out. This is going to be awesome. I hope I live long enough. I know I always say that, but it's like, you never know. You could get hit by a bus tomorrow or something. You know, I could have an airplane fall on my house. But I really want to see this entire trilogy. I will be 40-something by the time this wraps, like this entire trilogy. And I want to see it. I want Matt to dazzle me, and I know a lot of people are thinking that he's going super woke with his casting, but as long as he just has the actors play their roles and does not invoke social commentary into the movies, these will be phenomenal films. Because Matt Reeves is an amazing director / writer. You know. But unfortunately, you know, Harley Quinn's movie is going to be very bad. Very, 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 very bad. Death to the patriarchy, all that stuff. Even Jude Law has said some pretty concerning things. Which originally was supposed to be a movie about Harley Quinn trying to distance herself from the Joker, and it's turned into basically what DC Comics is today. But there's hope with Matt Reeves' movie, because Reeves is a great director. So as long as he doesn't get like a little, you know, bee buzzing in his ear, I think we're going to be okay. So. Ewan McGregor. Sorry, not Jude Law. I meant Ewan McGregor. I get my British people confused. I'm sorry. Obi-Wan. I'm concerned what Obi-Wan said. In my defense, Jude Law was supposed to be in one of the Batman movies years ago. And he was supposed to be cast as somebody. I don't remember who it was, but I remember his name. Obi-Wan. Why'd they even call it Birds of Prey if it's a Harley Quinn movie? Because Margot Robbie doesn't know how to write or direct things. That's why. Kwing, DC Black Label. Harley Quinn is best Harley Quinn since New Earth Harley Quinn. I agree. I think is a great cast for Black Mask, but the movie doesn't seem right. Yeah, I agree. I think he's a good casting as well. All right, so how long has this stream gone on, guys? My throat's getting kind of tired. Oh, because we're 2 hours in and I'm using my my podcast voice. K-Wing, should they add Magpie to the trilogy? Magpie is going to show up in Batwoman, so no. Or maybe she already did. I don't know. I wasn't really... I was half asleep during most of those episodes, so I think she showed up already. Pretty sure she did. Margot Robbie wanted to introduce new characters. Yes, she did. She wanted to introduce all female characters. Yeah, it's going to teach bad things about stuff. Well, only time will tell. Are they making a new Batman game? Yes. But I don't know when they're going to release it. Why Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey, not Batgirl? Because Batgirl is tied up to another film that's being written by the lady who did Bumblebee. If you saw Bumblebee, that's basically what you can expect from Batgirl. She's going to be very intelligent. Probably a lot of techie stuff. And I don't want to say it. I don't want to get into things, but it'll probably be a decent movie. Catwoman show would be more interesting than a Batwoman show. Can't happen because Catwoman's going to get her own spin-off movie. I'm calling it now. They got Zoe because they need a big star to do another Catwoman movie. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh no, not another Catwoman movie. It's not going to be a Halle Berry thing this time. They're going to do the spin-off story, which isn't really a spin-off. It's more of a Catwoman story as part of the trilogy of the Long Halloween story. It goes Long Halloween, Dark Victory, and then it goes When in Rome. When in Rome is a Catwoman story about her and her ties to the mob. And it takes place in Rome. But Mr. Freeze is in it. Batman's in it as well. I think Robin's in it. I don't remember. But it's a decent story. It's probably not the best part of the Long Halloween books, but it's not horrible, you would say. So, I mean, it would make a decent Catwoman movie if that's what they wanted to do. But I'm pretty sure Matt has everything planned out. Margot produced, writ, and I don't think she's directing Birds of Prey. I'd have to look into it. Yeah, she picked a lot of actresses that won't outshine her Harley Quinn. Mm-hmm. Batgirl is not in Birds of Prey because of all the Batman drama. It all depends on what Reeves does, as he probably has plans for them. Barbara Gordon's going to be introduced in the Matt Reeves trilogy, but she won't get her movie until later. Although she could show up in the Batman, like as a cameo to establish her, or she'll get a name drop. And you have to remember that the Nightwing and the Batgirl movies take place in the future. This movie takes place in the 90s. The DC Universe currently is in the year 2016, I think, continuity-wise. And this movie takes place in the year 1990... I thought I heard 7 or 6. Something like that. So, this, it's gonna somehow turn into older Batman, but not. Because there's gonna be a Flashpoint movie. Somehow. Don't ask me how. I don't know. I've heard the name Flashpoint several times. I've heard it appearing in Wonder Woman, and I'm not the only person to talk about it, so I don't know how they're gonna do it, but he's eventually, Robert is gonna become the DCU Batman of the... You're gonna see him in the past first, and you're gonna get used to him, and you're gonna forget all about Affleck, and Affleck is gonna become Robert in the present. Don't know how. That's what they're going to do. They're just going to de-age him and Superman a little bit. Probably going to recast Superman. I don't think so, though, because Cavill is still much younger than Affleck was. He's right around the same age as Robert. So you don't really need to get rid of Cavill, Warner Brothers. But yeah, I think we've pretty much talked about everything I can think of. I've answered a lot of your guys' comments. I'll answer 4 more comments, and then we're going to end the stream because we are 2 hours and 14 minutes. And I'm pretty happy with what we talked about today. Of course they're going to erase Murder Bat and Grayson being the dead Robin, because Dick Grayson is going to be introduced in the second movie. If they're really doing the entire trilogy of The Long Halloween, Dick Grayson comes in Dark Victory. Yeah, Cavill still wants to be Superman. What comic book suit do I want? I want one with a yellow oval to show more vulnerability for Batman and to explain a lot more of his, points where he can die. And, the different armor that he has. I don't want... Hi, Shadow. I don't want him to have an... Wait, what are you doing out? Did you, phase through the door or something? Or have you been upstairs this entire time? No, Joaquin Phoenix is not going to do Joker anymore. That was a one-shot thing. That's it. It's going to make $1 billion, probably win an Oscar, and then that's it. He doesn't reprise his characters, and Warner Brothers is being very firm on not doing another Joker movie. Batgirl isn't in Birds of Prey because everyone would be paying attention to her instead of Harley Quinn. Probably. K-Wing, are you getting a Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn movie in the future? That's because Margot, has expressed having Poison Ivy in the movies. Would you want the guy who played Zola in the MCU to be the Mad Hatter? Nope. No, I would not. I read some stuff about Wonder Woman 84, and I'm worried about the film based on the recent test screenings. I don't know, thoughts? I don't know what to think about the current Wonder Woman movie yet. I'm sorry. Oh, no, they're not. Don't worry about this. I mean, Captain Beastwinger. I agree with you about the Dark Knight trying to be too realistic. But this is a Batman that's set in his early days. So I would like to see him wearing the black oval, because that's kind of what they do to showcase a younger Batman now. If you go back and you read current DC Rebirth or New 52 comics, whenever they show him with a Robin, he has an oval on his chest, like back in the past, which was another form of added protection, like more, armor and stuff like that. And as he got older, he changed the suit design because he didn't need to rely on it as much, or he had other technology or something. I don't know. Why are they doing Wonder Woman 2 before Man of Steel 2? Because Wonder Woman is going to reset the continuity. Don't ask me how. Don't know. That's the thing I keep hearing, is that Wonder Woman is going to give everybody a clean slate. Wonder Woman Bloodlines was okay, but the Wonder Woman movie that was animated years ago was better. Like, not even compared. You can't. They basically tried to redo the awesome movie that was Wonder Woman the Animated film from 2009 or 2011, and it didn't do it. It tried too hard to do a good origin or like reboot of that movie, and it didn't work. I personally don't like the Yellow Emblem K-Wing. That's fine. I'm a Yellow Emblem guy. That's me. Do you like Jason O'Mara as Batman Animated Series voice actor? No, I don't like Jason as the Batman voice. He's terrible. He's not my favorite. He doesn't know how to do a Batman voice. He doesn't show emotion. His Bruce Wayne and his Batman sound identical. They're just, no. I wish they would have gotten Bruce Greenwood to do the voice of the new 52 Batman, because he sounds very similar to Kevin Conroy. He, a little younger sounding than Kevin, but he's still better. I like the Young Justice Batman voice better. You think Zeta Project IP will ever come back? No. That's gone. Will Bane show up in the coming movies? Bane could show up in the Titans Season 3, but no, I don't think so. Yo, I'm the Batman! Go get Penguin, a fat man. Okay. Yeah, Yellow Oval is the classic suit now. It should be used. I agree. The Magic Stone in Wonder Woman is how... Yeah, that's what I've heard too. Hot take. Dark Knight Returns is overrated. Please don't hate me, K-Wing. I'm not a big fan of the Dark Knight Returns. I don't hate it, but I don't love it as much as some other Batman arcs. Like, I like Hush and Heart of Hush better. I like the Long Halloween arc. Oh my gosh. I like Year One a lot. I like a lot of Robin stories. Like, Robin Year One is really good. It's a lot of fun. Batgirl Year One is fun. Most of the 90s comics were okay, but I prefer, a lot of the 70s ones. But I can't tell you the name of the arcs. I can just tell you the characters. Like, when Ra's al Ghul first appeared, was really good. Most of the episodes of the animated series are based on 70s and 80s Batman comics. So, in reality, a lot of you guys love 70s and 80s Batman comics because that's where Dini got the inspiration from those from. The Laughing Fish, Ra's al Ghul, all that stuff. All-Star Batman and Robin is when Frank Miller lost it. Yeah, I agree. Anyone disappointed Zaz is being wasted in Birds of Prey? Wanted him in a Batman movie? I'm not a big fan of Zaz. Zaz is an 80s, 90s villain. Meh. Zaz is kind of overrated. I don't like him. Besides, we had Zaz in the Nolan movies, so... And I think they use Zaz perfectly fine in that, because Zaz is not that big of a threat. Yeah, Bruce Greenwood came back in Gotham by Gaslight. Yep, he did a great job. Yeah, the Batman INC suit would look awesome, wouldn't it? Hey, K-Wing, what is the best and regular everyday bat suit in Arkham? In Arkham Knight? What is my favorite suit to use? That's a hard one. I mean, I change suits like I change my clothes. Every time I play this game, I'm wearing a different suit because I like them all. The only reason that I'm wearing the DC Cinematic one is because I'm talking about DC Cinematic stuff, so... just kind of doing some stuff. And yeah, the reason why I wasn't playing a lot is because I was talking, if people don't know that. When I, non-scripted videos, it's hard for me, especially when I'm really getting into topics. And I had a lot of topics to go over, so I wasn't really playing a lot. There's my Batmobile. Hi there. Whoops. 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 Okay, that didn't go according to plan. I think the reason, too, I was standing still is because about an hour ago I was talking and I got hit by a car. Everybody laughed. I thought it was funny. It was funny. But, yeah, I was just kind of hanging out. Kwing, thoughts on Batman White Knight? Too much to go over. Do you read the Injustice comics? Not anymore. Magic Stone and Wonder Woman, please explain. I don't want to because it's weird. Originally it was supposed to be a Flash. Now it's going to be a flash of a Magic Stone that's going to rewrite everything and recast people that are still characters that you know. There'll be a different Flash. There'll be a different Batman. Maybe a different Superman. Shazam will be in this universe. It's going to be confusing. Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa are going to be the only faces of the old DCU that you're going to remember. Minus Shazam, but they never really said Shazam is part of the DCU. He's in a world that has a Superman and a Batman and all those other characters, but he doesn't necessarily take place in the current DC cinematic universe that you know from BVS. He may not. There's hints that he does, but no people are really talking about the death of Superman. They talk about Superman sightings, talk about, batarangs and things like that, but they never really say that Superman was dead. Why do you like Rick Grayson? Because he's a horrible character. You know who Rick Grayson is? He's Chris O'Donnell, Batman Forever Robin. Do you like Batman Forever Robin? That's a riddle for you. I think City of Bane is actually brilliant simply because it feels like Tom King getting back at DC for cutting his run short. I didn't like Tom King's run. The guy he's got serious issues. He's ex-CIA with a lot of mental problems. I appreciate him doing the stuff he did and serving and stuff like that, but I don't think he should have brought all his crazy life experiences into his comics, because he did a bunch of stuff that a lot of it feels pretty petty. Killed a lot of characters. It might be he's the reason why DC is doing a crisis and replacing everybody in 2020. I don't know, but I did not like what he did to Nightwing. I didn't like what he did to a lot of characters. And, yeah, Tom King gave Alfred a break. Right, yeah. Yeah, he did. Batman Begins suit for Dark Knight suit. I don't know which one I like more. I mean, I like that he can turn his head in the Dark Knight, but I think the Batman Begins suit looks more terrifying, personally. I mean, the Dark Knight suit just kind of looks like a guy wearing a motorcycle suit. Sort of. Ah! I'm not talking about that, Ryan. Can you speak to your informant's credibility? Can I speak for my informant's credibility? They're about 60-30 sometimes. It depends. I mean, they're pretty good when it comes to Batman stuff, and they love talking about Batman things. And since I'm not under NDA for, any movie stuff, only games, I mean, they talk to me about all kinds of stuff I don't want to know because I like figuring it out for myself. Most of them tell me that I'm actually pretty good at figuring out what they're doing with this movie before they even start, but in my defense, I know The Long Halloween and that trilogy pretty well, so if they're using that as their blueprint, then it's not too hard to figure out the characters that they're considering or the characters that they're going to do in the story that they're going to tell. I mean, any really diehard comic book fan would be able to figure it out. But I am kind of a crazy Batman fanatic, so maybe I know more than most people. But it's gotten me in trouble sometimes. I get Warner Brothers writing me an email like, maybe you were a little bit, who exactly did you talk to about this thing happening in the movie? Because, when did you see the script? And then I'll just be like, oh, I just guessed. And they're just like, so I've gotten in trouble like that over the years. I've almost gotten sued twice, actually. Once during BVS and Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. Almost got sued. I had a cease and desist sent for the Dark Knight Rises. And then I think Warner Brothers forgot about it because they partnered with me to help promote BVS. It was funny. But that was a long time ago. Kwing, are you looking forward to Injustice 3? I guess. Kwing, what did you think of Joker? It was okay. It was a psycho thing. I went into that movie like I said I wasn't gonna go see it. I saw it. I thought I was gonna have a panic attack. I had my medicine with me just in case, because it was gonna be like it was a mental trip. I did not see the movie repeatedly because it's still hard to figure out what's reality and what isn't. I thought Joaquin Phoenix was really good. I don't really think I need to go over anything again when I went into my controversy thing because it was pretty spot on. I mean, I don't want to get into spoilers, but the stuff at the studio that I talked about happened. You know, character died. It kind of set off a chain of events. The Waynes were still killed, but it wasn't how I said in my controversy thing. So, I mean, you know, I don't really need to go over it again. And also, I don't like R-rated movies, so I went in kind of biased. Sorry. I think that the media was kind of crazy with what they were saying about the movie because that's not the Joker movie I saw. I was kind of fearing for my life a little bit that somebody was going to come in and shoot us, but it didn't happen. But ever since the Dark Knight Rises incident, whenever I go into the theater, I'm always looking over my shoulder anyway, so I never feel comfortable in any movie theater. No matter where it is, no matter what time of day it is, I'm always a little overly cautious. Actually, I wear a heavy leather jacket, and I don't even know why I want to say this, but it shows you how paranoid I am. I have a very thick Bible that has like a metal plate, and it's like one of those pocket-sized Bibles, and I carry it in the breast pocket of my leather jacket. So if somebody shoots me in the chest, as long as it's not an armor-piercing round, the bullet should stop it. In the little pocket Bible that has like that metal casing in the front and in the back and in the middle, because it's been shown that there was this guy, it was a detective in, I think it was in Jersey or something like that in the 80s. He got shot by some punk, and he wasn't walking a beat or anything. This is where I got the idea. And he got shot in the chest. He didn't have a vest with him. This was like 88, 90 something. And the guy was a devout Christian or whatever. He had just a New Testament, like, little pocket Bible in his pocket, like, of the breast pocket of his jacket. He got shot. The bullet did not go through the Bible or the book. It stopped. He did get a burn on his chest, and it did throw him back, but he didn't die. So I've had this mentality that depending on what type of bullet it is, I have a 50-50 chance of surviving. But whenever I go to the movie theater, I kind of do that. I know I'm kind of paranoid, but, the chance of somebody aiming for the head, I know I'm getting all dark. Not likely, but... No, it's not a metal Bible. It's in a case that's metal. It's not just the pocket Bible. It's in a metal case. Oh, yeah. What comic, game, animated inspiration would you... The only time I don't get to do it... Bibles aren't bulletproof, but they'll stop a bullet. Some of them will. That's how that detective guy survived in Jersey. That's why, if I didn't think there was any possibility of it working, I wouldn't do it. There'd be no point to it. But I can't bring it to... A metal Bible would be cool. No, it would be heavy. When I go to conventions, I can't bring it because it will set off the alarms. So whenever I go to California or New York City or something like that, I feel uneasy because it's not like I can walk around New York City wearing a vest. I would if I could. At one point when my YouTube channel was doing so well, I was this close to buying a bulletproof vest. I made that much money that I almost could afford a vest, and then I was gonna feel more comfortable. But no, that's never gonna happen. Okay, a couple more questions. Getting a little bit too much into my personal life and my crazy mind because of the world we live in. Batfleck would destroy Bale. Like, you know, that's my impression. Batfleck trained with UFC people. Bale did choreography based on Muay Thai. He didn't actually study Muay Thai. Affleck actually studied UFC for his role, and is still pretty good at it from what I hear. So, I mean, the fact that he gave up so soon on Batman, I'm really angry because I wanted to see his trilogy so bad. Because he was Arkham Batman. Oh, well. Should this new Batman be dark? Yes, he should be 90s. Are we going to see a Crisis event in the DC movies? No, please. Not anytime soon, unless you count Wonder Woman's magic reset bullet thing that's going to happen or not happen. I hope it doesn't happen. They did do reshoots, so very well this magic thing is going to reset the entire DC universe. No. No. Do you think certain villains should have cameos in the first Matt Reeves Batman movie, like displayed? We need more Brutal Bat. Why does DC hate Nightwing? Because Dan Dido can't stand legacy characters. Would you like Batman Rebirth suit for Patterson? No. I don't like the Rebirth. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of the Rebirth suit. They were so close to doing something cool with it, and then they botched it. Keaton versus Bale. Bale. Keaton was not... His Batman was not really... How do I explain this? Keaton would be like me in a Batsuit. It feels like Keaton had a little bit of studying. Like, he might have taken a little bit of karate here and there because he was able to fight proficiently against one or two martial artists in the film. So it'd be like me in a Batsuit. Like, but I would just sneak around and, like, beat people up because I took martial arts for, like, I don't know, 4 years or something like that. A little jiu-jitsu, a little bit of karate. You know, but not enough to engage like a whole group of people. I would die. So Keaton, if we never really saw Keaton surrounded. In one movie, he gets attacked and he gets knocked to the ground. Kim Basinger's Vicky Vale uses a distraction with her camera. He gets up. He slowly starts taking people out one by one until there's less enemies for him to fight. But if they all jumped him at once, like you saw, he lost. They shot him in the stomach, and if he didn't have his body armor, that would have been it for Batman. So no, Bale could destroy Keaton's Batman pretty easily. Tim Drake Duckman to appear. No. He wasn't a good fighter. He could barely hold himself against Clock King. Who could? What is that in Captain... Keaton versus Bale. Oh, right. What comic game animated suit would you like to see Robert Pattinson's Batsuit take after? 90s Batman. Kind of, but... Yeah, I would actually like to have kind of like a darker blue... I'm kind of sick and tired of the black thing. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be another black cowl. So I'd like a variation of like a the Affleck suit, but probably like the Batman INC suit, I think would look really cool. Fatal 5 review, I didn't get around to that because I'm desperately trying to keep my Let's Play channel afloat. The good news is, this channel is going to be fine come January, but you'll see a lot more of me. Unless I can't... unless I can't keep this channel afloat, and then I'll be around for a month, and then I'll do my goodbye video. Because I won't be able to afford where I live. Near Philly and stuff like that. And I can't really move either because it's complicated. What DC TV original hero series do you like? DC TV original hero series. What's that? Is that CW? Or are you talking like the DCU app? I need some context to that. No! Which Clock King? I meant Keaton murdered by smashing his head into a bell. Oh! That guy wasn't the Clock King. He was just a thug. Well, yeah, Keaton did kill people, but he isolated people. Maybe Bale could isolate Keaton. I don't know, but Bale learned to take on 100 men. Keaton only took out guys one at a time. Go and watch his movies again. He was being very stealthy. The Bell thing is a great scene. Great example of, Batman realizing that he's outgunned by that big bodybuilder dude. Still managed to kill him. Found a very ingenious way of doing that. That's very Batman-like. So Keaton understood what the character was and what his limitations as an actor was. Clock Guy, not Clock King. Yeah, I think he's just called Muscle Goon. Oh, the CW Universe heroes? I used to watch The Flash a lot, but Ezra Miller Flash is probably out. I hate to say it, but Ezra's gone probably. The cool guy who did Cyborg is gone, from what I hear. They're going to be recasting a bunch of people, and they're going to do that thanks to Wonder Woman 84. The reason why there's not a lot of movies for the DC Cinematic Universe is because a reboot's coming. And you're not going to like it. I don't like it, and I don't have all the details yet. Well, I mean, here's the thing. My channel, I don't know if maybe you guys understand this, but I have a second channel called Kwing's Let's Plays. It is not a channel that's targeted for kids, but it makes E and T-rated content. I mean, we play only E and T-rated games there, but we do leave... Sometimes we try to censor the swearing, like, from the games we play, but that's a lot of work. So over the years, I've gotten kind of sloppy. Sorry. But I've been doing this since 2006. So when I had an editor, my editor went through and he did a lot of stuff that I couldn't anymore. And over the years, when I look at T-rated games and they, put us... The only word that I'll censor is the F word if it pops up on the other channel. And it really hasn't. One time it did. And I was shocked because the developer told me that their game was T-rated. And what they didn't tell me is their game was rated T in the country that they're from. But America rated it M because of a couple F-bombs in it. And the letters that I got from parents, you would not believe. Because there was only about 100 people in that stream. And afterwards, it got 4,000 views, something like that. But I had at least 50 emails of, raving parents. How dare you have my kid, subjected to this kind of stuff on your channel? Your channel is supposed to be for kids. And I wrote them, I said, whoa. Don't typecast me. My channel is not for kids. Just because Amber and I don't swear like sailors and, speak somewhat intelligently or act goofy, it doesn't mean that our channel is created with kids in mind. If kids find our stuff, cool. That's not a problem. I mean, we are making it accessible to anybody who wants to watch it. And part of the reason why we did that is YouTube back then was constantly ear-raping people with cussing. All the time. From 2005 through I want to say 13, something like that. And for the time, part of the reason why we blew up as big as we did over on that channel that has millions of views, dwarfs this channel in comparison, even makes more than this channel in comparison. Well, I mean, not probably after January, but we were the only channel that existed that literally anyone and their grandma could watch, because while we played all the popular games, we didn't act like raving lunatics. And we had direct advertisers investing into our channel. We had deals with Toys R Us, Disney. My PR guy was able to get ads from toy companies and all kinds of stuff because we were a safe brand. We didn't set out to be a safe brand, mind you. I learned all this business stuff as I was in the business. I had no idea. I was just making content and just being myself. And then I found out you're a safe brand, you've got a $20 CPM, we're going to throw money here at you, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I always got triggered, though, when people said that I was a kid's channel, because that's not how I envisioned myself. And come January, I'm fighting this. If I have to go to court I'm going to go to court because I am not a targeted kids channel. I'm not a kids brand. I do T-rated games. A lot of the years has been mostly T-rated stuff, and there is stuff in there that's, there's occasional swearing, there's whatever. Not for me. My commentary is always squeaky clean, like PG. But, I don't like what the politicians are doing. I'm very mad. And this whole incident has made me had to contact partners that I don't like and I don't work well with because they burned bridges with me 10 years ago. So I really didn't want to give them heads up what was coming out, but I needed their help to get that petition over 25,000 signatures or whatever, and to have thousands of people write into the FTC. I bent over backwards this week talking with people I hate. So, yeah. It hasn't been a fun week for me. So I just hope it all pays out, personally. No, Lizard, I would be going to court to fight like a wrongful accusation of my channel, Kwing's Let's Plays. If they basically try to tell me that my channel is targeted for kids because I play games that are E through T rated. Something like that. Which my employees are actually looking through a loophole through the current law. I'm going over it with a fine-tooth comb to see if we can find some... I'm going to be one of the channels that's going to try to fight this because I can't afford a $42,000 fee per video. I mean, I don't have that anymore. I don't even have that in credit cards. I used to. I used to be able to afford a fee like that or something, but not for the past, 3 or 4 years. Ever since I left Boston. No way. But yeah. We'll see what happens come January. This channel's going to be fine. But this channel just makes rent, just so people know. And because I'm overworking on the Let's Play channel all the time, I probably could make the same income over here, just making Batman videos, but I think I'd end up in the insane asylum. Because the great thing about Kwing's Let's Plays is I have variety. This channel, Batman, DC! After several years, it kind of drove me batty a little bit. So... I don't want to do it all the time. Kind of. So if I just have this channel, yeah, I'm probably going to end up putting on a bat suit and fighting crime at some point because I'm just going to be so immersed in this world again that it's just going to be like,
Amber, what's for breakfast? All right.
I'm just going to go insane. Right now I have I'm able to space out. I work on this channel a couple times a month, and I work on the other channel every day, and I have variety in what I can play. Smash Brothers, Power Rangers, I don't know, Nintendo games, Sony games. I've tried to do variety on this channel. You guys just don't bite it. You only like Batman. If I was to do, I've done other games here. I don't have 800 people watching. If it's not Batman, people don't care, which is fine. Hey, that's my audience. Cool. But I'm just telling people, if I have to do this channel every day, I'm going to go crazy. And you're to blame. But I love you. So. Where am I going with all this? I have no idea. I'm trying to put Shadows Die Twice on Gaming with the Kwings. I think it's M. Yeah, no, I'm not putting any M-rated games, so you don't need to worry about that. You did Spider-Man here in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Yeah, and I didn't get that type of reception. If it's not Batman, people don't care. Will you be doing a Let's Play of Death Standing? Nope. That's right, Zelda. Alright, let's take 2 last questions, and then we are done. I don't know how we got in this conversation, Mason. This is the problem with me streaming for over 2 hours. You never know where I'm going to go. That's why I like scripted content, personally. But I like live streams, too, so we're kind of at an impasse. How heavy is Batman's body armor? Does it slow him down, Kwing? Depends on the type of armor that he's using. So, yes. A good example of that, watch the movie Batman Gotham Knights, which is supposed to take place in the Christopher Nolan universe, and Kevin Conroy came back to voice Batman. he gives you more of a scientific reasoning why he drops certain body armor. Mostly because if he has an armor that's reflective, then not innocent people, but anybody can get hurt or killed. And, you know, he kind of cares about what happens to people, even though it doesn't look like it. Like, he's willing to risk his own life as long as it's, you know, someone else doesn't get hurt or killed. So he's had body armor that's been reflective, like somebody shoots a bullet at him and it bounces right off like Superman. It was in the comics. It's also in that movie. He's had like absorbent stuff, but it slows him down. Like, think of like one of those like really strong mattresses that you drop a bowling ball and it bounces. Well, there's a type of bulletproof material that kind of exists in the real world, but also in comics, where you shoot something and it has the bullets kind of like go into it, like it impacts, but it pushes it out a little bit. The problem is the material is very heavy. And you got like Kevlar materials, you've got all kinds of different stuff. So one thing I like about the character in the 90s is that in the comics and stuff, they've shown like different types of things that he did, that he experimented with over the course of his career. And they did the same thing in that one animated movie I told you to watch. So that's a good thing. Good reasoning why he does it. He does it for weight issues. He does it for speed. He even did it in the Nolan movie. That answers your question, too. In Batman Begins, his suit is heavier, and it doesn't deal well with being bit by dogs. The only reason that he got rid of that suit is because, you know, he got bit by a dog, and then he started to make some different modifications. He wanted to be able to turn his head better. He wanted better computer equipment. And Lucius even says, well, if I do this stuff for you, Bruce, just so you know, you're going to lose certain advantages. Like, you know, the body armor that you had that would basically break a knife if they tried to stab you with it. You'll be more susceptible to gunfire and all this other stuff. So, I mean, he experiments all the time. That's a cool pose. Let's stand there for a little bit. What are your thoughts on Martian Manhunter or getting it a film? Martian Manhunter should show up in... No, he's already in the CW. What is my most scary Joker moment? I don't know. The one that scared me the most when I was a kid was in Mask of the Phantasm, where he kills a bunch of people. I believe the scene with Artie was pretty scary as a kid. Like the one where he thought that Arturo was the Phantasm and he confronts him. That was kind of a terrifying scene for the Joker. But he also had some pretty scary scenes in the animated series too. I haven't watched the animated series through in 2 years, so I'm a little, I can't remember a lot of things at the moment. I guess that shows you how much I haven't really worked on this channel much, because originally I was going to be doing a lot more on this channel with like Batman animated series, like reviews and stuff like that, but I got stuck on my other channel and didn't have time. Like the 3 hours that I have right now to talk to you guys, or 2.5, that's how much time I have, honestly, and then I have to jump off this podcast and I have to edit until about 7 in the morning for tomorrow on the other channel. Actually, it'd probably be 8 in the morning now. Well, is it almost 2 a.m. or what time is it? Yeah, it's almost 2. What do I think of the Batwoman TV show? Garbage. 5 episodes in and it's not getting any better. And it's being moved to HBO Max. So, sorry if you like it, but that's where it's going. Come 2020. He got stabbed by Talia in his suit, though. Yeah, that's because he changed. He wouldn't have got stabbed with Talia if he was still wearing the Batman Begins suit. Like, the knife would have broke. But he was wearing the Dark Knight Rises stuff. Has Batman ever had bulletproof suit and lightweight material at the same time? The only type of material that he's had that I can think of is... I don't know why that person was timed out. I think that was Garrett. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you agree with that. You have a lot of taste, my friend. It is a very disappointing show. They could have done a lot with it, and they chose not to. That's on them, I suppose. What do you think of Titan Season 2? Everything is good except for episodes 1 and 9. I would skip episode 1 completely, so you just get the recap for episode 2. And then you're right in there. You understand, oh, this is the new team of Titans, and this is where the story begins. And then episode 9, wait for the recap. There were a lot of crazy plots that happened in episode 9 that's just kind of like, I understand they're laying the groundwork, but I was blown away by episode 8 because everything that happened before then was planned out since the very first episode of Titan Season 1. Everything makes sense why the characters act the way they do, especially the older characters, especially why Robin is more brutal now. All of that stuff makes sense. And then episode 9, it's just like pretty much Robin leaves Grayson leaves, everybody leaves. Only Beast Boy and Connor are left, and Connor does an oopsie. As a Beast Boy episode, it's good. As a Connor episode, it's funny. As a Titans episode, it's not my favorite of season 2. I probably still detest episode 1 of season 2 the most because it's just kind of like a more of the same of Titans season 1. Like, they finished that off and then there's like a total tonal change. So episode 9, it kind of felt like they were going back to the season 1 thing, but not. Like, they couldn't make up their mind what kind of show it was. I'm hoping that tomorrow's episode is going to be really good. Do you think Jericho is alive and inside Deathstroke, sort of like the comics? I don't know what they're going to do. I think Jericho is around, but I don't... Because no one in the Titans Tower would know how to mess with the Titans the way Jericho would. Like, if his spirit is somehow connected to... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh! What if Jericho is inside of Grayson's consciousness? Only one person would know all the Titans' weaknesses. And I don't think it was Slade. Holy cow. So, whoa, I could have a lot of fun with that theory. Especially with the hallucination that happened. That felt very real to Grayson a couple episodes ago. That would be a twist. That would be very weird. Yes, I like the Nightwing suit leak. Alright, I could be here all night, guys. You're gonna keep making me think about things, and like I said, I gotta edit, and my one thing I'm looking forward to this morning is watching Titans. Because I'm going to watch it because I'm going to be up. I'm going to be up because I have to edit. I have a new series starting tomorrow called Lucky's Tale, which is given to me by the developer. Jumanji's coming out tomorrow, which is not going to be very good, but I'm going to stream it anyway. Oh my gosh. I got more Sonic and Mario things to post, more Luigi, and I think I have streams tomorrow too. I don't see how I'm going to get to streams, though, but I just want to tell you people, you're all amazing. I had a lot of fun on this podcast thing. Those of you watching this back, the first hour of this video was all the things that you were wondering. The almost last 2 hours is just me going over some more plot details, talking a little bit about Wonder Woman, 84, answering your questions. I answered your questions for about an hour, hour and a half, something like that. But I hope you guys have a great night, and sorry about this 3-hour stream. No. You guys don't need to apologize for anything. Like I said, if I could do this every night, I would. Because, I mean, not only is it very profitable for the channel, with 800 to 1,000 people watching these things, but it's also really good for me to kind of not have to worry about being a slave to editing for hours. But the problem is, this is the only time that I had to kind of do this kind of thing. I tried to do it once a week, but I just I'm trying to bail out a sinking ship. That's not my fault. The hardest thing about YouTube that I would tell people is you can go in a massive following, you can do all this stuff, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day because it can all be taken away from you. There are bugs, there are problems that happen with sub boxes and notifications and algorithms, and just because you've built up a massive audience, it doesn't mean that massive audience is going to come back every day. They're supposed to, but in my case, that's never happened on the other channel. This channel, when it's Batman stuff, people like hearing what I have to say. It's awesome. But I don't know if it would be like this if I appeared all the time, or if, you know, so I guess there's kind of a fear in that because I don't know. I'm just getting older. I was in my 20s when I started this. I'm in my mid 30s now, so it's been an experience to hang out with all you people and just see how much things have changed. I kind of wish things would go back to how they were, to be honest, because I don't know how long I can work like this, to be honest, because I'm making more content than I ever have in my life, and I don't know if my heart can take it, to be honest, because I'm not a really healthy person. So when it comes to my 40s, I'll be amazed if I'm still around, to be honest. Just all the stuff that I push my body through to make the amount of content I do. I'm making close to 200 videos a month for one channel. Just one channel. That's insane. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the Batman thing. I will see you guys in the coming weeks because there's a lot more Batman news that's going to happen. They're going to be casting Firefly soon. Not the TV show. There's the actual Batman villain called Firefly. They're going to be announcing some stuff with Two-Face and a whole bunch of stuff. We'll finally get to see the Batsuit. I'm hearing right around December is when we're going to get a glimpse. December or January is when photos of the Batsuit will start to surface. Or they could be leaked beforehand. I don't know. I probably won't do the leak stuff because Warner Brothers is Sue happy right now, so excuse me. I've got enough trouble on my end, so. But have a wonderful night. I'm going to put the podcast music up. You want to watch this back, cool. Be a big help to me. I'll try to do another podcast / whatever next week because I got some stuff to talk about the DC Black Label. Yay. All right. Good night, people. See you later, Gothamites. No, wrong stuff. It's fine out loud. Not cool.